O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
Why is it that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys?
Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmiths in South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business. Car key replacements and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
foregoing statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
Good morning. Hey, Siri. Who's the best team in the NFL?
So far, the Dolphins are in first place in the NFL with a record of 2.
When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Hey, good morning, boys and girls. Yes, sir, we are back. What's wrong with you, Sean? Hey, Siri, who's the best team in the NFL?
So far, the Dolphins are in first place in the NFL with a record of 3-0.
That's how you do it. 2-0, that's passé, Sean. 2-0 stuff, passé. Siri, do you love the Miami Dolphins? Oh, let's try it. Siri. Hey, what's going on? Siri. Hey, Siri. That's how you got to do it, right? Is that how it is? How come it's not triggering now? Hey, Siri. There we go. Do you love the Miami Dolphins?
Okay, I found this on the web for Do You Love the Miami Dolphins? Check it out.
Okay. All right. That's not good. That's not what I wanted. I wanted her to tell me that she loves the Miami Dolphins. You know? So there you go. Sean says I'm only as accurate as my last video. Oh, man. It is good, isn't it? First of all, I hope everybody is safe on the west coast of Florida. That is the most important thing right now, is our friends on the West Coast who are about to face something really, really ugly in the next 24 hours. And so that first and foremost is in my thoughts. All kidding aside, we can have fun with the Dolphins and talk about everything going on in sports, and we'll do that for the next couple of hours today on the show. But I do want to say, first of all, our prayers are with all of you out there in the West Coast. And listen, all throughout Florida, prepare, because this sucker, you don't know what the hell is going to go on, man. So just be careful, because it continues to jog east every time, a little bit more and a little bit more. So even those of us in South Florida, we're going to be affected even more as time goes on, because it just keeps getting closer to us. We may not get the brunt of the storm, but we are going to get a lot of rain. We're going to get wind. We're going to get gusts. So be careful if you have to drive out there. If you don't have to drive, even better. Okay? If you can stay away from the roads, stay away from the roads. Be out there only if you must. I mean, it has to be something that you need to be out there to get something. But overall, please be safe. And prayers to all our friends from Naples all the way up to Bradenton and St. Petersburg and Clearwater and Tampa and all those areas that they're about to experience some really, really bad stuff. So first and foremost, I want to start off with that, because that means a lot to us. A lot of us that live in this Gulf Coast area around from Texas all the way to the Panhandle and all around. We've all experienced these storms one way or another, and then we've got our friends on the East Coast, hell, all the way up to Canada now. Now Nova Scotia, now they're feeling it. You know what I mean? It's crazy to see what happened. I mean, it just tells you with global warming, it's not as cold up there, so those storms aren't dying off like they used to right away, and that's the bad news out of all of that. So prayers to all of our friends here in Florida and on the West Coast and the rough waters that they're about to face now. All right. Got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We got a lot of talk going on for a while, because we won't have Joe on till the third hour. So Joe Shad will join us at 12:15. Andy Behrens If you've got fantasy football questions, send them in. Better yet, send them in on our Welton Rayom text line, because I'll find them there a lot easy. Here on the chat board, though, it'll eventually get lost with the hundreds of texts that are coming in. So if you have fantasy questions, send them in to the Welton Rayom text line at 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056 if you want to send in your fantasy questions on the Welt and Rayom text line. Let's see who, Steve Chapman in number one, and then Jamie Zorilla in there, Muzi and The Assault, and Adam Sadowski and Nizzo and Ian from Brooklyn and Samuel Robina. He says Dolphins are finally getting some respect on the power rankings. Yeah, they're right up there, man. Stephen Allen, Michael Berggraf says, oh, like the nonsense about the weather all over the media. Ha, ha, ha. That's nonsense? That's nonsense. The weather is nonsense. Where do you live, Michael? Because, if I don't know, Michael, I really don't tolerate a lot of stupidity, bro. I'm about to turn 56 on Saturday. I don't really, and I don't care if you're joking or not. So watch yourself. You know what I mean? I don't really need it. See what I'm saying? So watch yourself, my brother. Watch yourself. You're on double secret probation now. Okay? Just so you'll know. Watch your ass on what's the next thing you text. Might be the last thing you do on this show. You'll have to watch, and you'll never get access again to the text. So be careful what you text. I don't really tolerate stupidity at all. I don't have any time for it whatsoever, and I crush it normally. Just read Tua, the only QB with 100-plus passer rating in the first 3 weeks. That's all right. Rub-a-dub-dub, what's happening is a lot of people are just looking stupid. That's all. A lot of people were dividing the Dolphin Nation because of their stupidity. Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tom Brady, all of that stupidity when they didn't need to get anything else. They didn't need to trade for anybody. They have their franchise quarterback. But I get it, man. Not everybody really understands the sport. They love it. They root for it. But they weren't willing to just look at it and say, the quarterback's not the problem. The problem is everything else around the quarterback. And then now that you're fixing everything around the quarterback, now the quarterback's kicking ass. Wow, what a concept. That's all it is, dude. And because of your lack of knowledge, you cry for Justin Herbert. Because of your lack of knowledge, you cry for Jimmy Garoppolo. Because of your lack of knowledge, you say, let's go sign or trade for Lamar Jackson or Tom Brady. That's all it is. It's a lack of knowledge when you think that it's better off to continue to give up more assets for some of the quarterbacks that aren't even better than Tua. I get the Tom Brady one. I understand that. But look at it now, big picture. You're going to do it for what, a year? That's it? And the guy's going to take off a day a week? Are you sure you're going to win the Super Bowl? Because that's the only way it's worth it. That you're guaranteed to win the Super Bowl. And if you're not, and he's gone after a year, and you traded assets, how stupid would that be? If Tom Brady walks out after a year because he's got to go back to Giselle and all that, and you traded for him, you're a dumbass. Because all he's doing is using you to play for a year and then move into ownership so he can cash in, because he's already cashed in on football. I mean, aren't the Dolphins past that stuff where you're just paying players to come here to hang out in the fun and the sun because they don't really care about winning? When Ndamukong Suh signs here, it's not because he came here to win. He just came here for a fat-ass check. That's it. He had no respect for the franchise. He knew they weren't winning. He came here simply for a check. That's what Tom Brady would have been here for 1 year, for a check, because there's no guarantee you would have won. And then he's done. So really, it's just a lack of knowledge when people are just saying, oh, no, you should have drafted Herbert, or you should trade for Lamar Jackson, or you should trade for Tom Brady, or you should trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. When you already have a quarterback and you're going to give up more assets, how stupid is that? So that's all it is, rub-a-dub-dub. It's just people that didn't really get it, and by not getting it, you divide the fan base even more. How twisted is that? Every day that you cry about Justin Herbert, you just continue. And every day you write about Justin Herbert, you continue to divide people. And every day that Pro Football Talk and ESPN is slamming Tua, you keep dividing the fan base because a lot of the fans aren't smart. They don't really know the game that well, so they repeat what other people say. You got to remember, people like you that are watching this show, normally, not all, there are idiots like Michael Burgraff. There are morons like that. But most of you are intelligent except for Michael. And most of you are hardcore football fans, but you're not the ones that listen and follow sports radio. The majority of the fans, they're not hardcore like you guys. This is the elite group of fans, except for Michael, of course. He's just on for the ride. He's hoping that our IQs rub off on him. But overall, most of you are really hardcore football fans, so you kind of get it. But there's a lot, the ones that don't listen, the ones that watch on weekends, and they're just working their lives, and then they tune in on Sundays or whatever. Those people don't follow it hardcore, so I don't expect them. I expect them to listen to whatever talking head is on television saying something stupid, and then they believe that, and they just repeat it like parrots, because that's what we have in our society. We have a ton of people that are just parrots. They don't really think for themselves. They don't do their homework, and so they just repeat. So that's what we have here, Lisa Rose is in. Morning, Big O, Sean, and Finn's Nation. Still on a Victory Monday hangover, but Thursday is fast approaching. Time to tame those Bengals next. Yes. Big O, did you finish season 5 of Cobra 5? My brother, I watched, I believe, 3 episodes, and I stopped. It's bad. It's cheesy. It's super freaking cheesy, dude. I don't know if I'm going to finish Cobra Kai season 5. I've got to be really bored to get motivated to even try to finish it. I'm not going to tell you exactly what's going on, but I don't know. There's 191 people right now on the chat board. Or if you listen to the podcast later on, like 98% of you do, please do me a favor. Send me a text on the Welton Rayom text line at 855-912-1056, or on Twitter, DM, or on Instagram DM. If you agree with me that Cobra Kai season 5 has absolutely jumped the shark. It's cheesy as a mofo. I just watched 3 episodes, and it was painful to get through the 3 episodes, to be quite honest. I think it was 3.5, maybe. I don't know. I stopped, and I think my wife, it's 3.5. I think my wife fell asleep, and I was like, you know what, man, I'm done. And I switched over and watched something else. Just for me, I was not impressed whatsoever those first couple of episodes. So I don't know how you guys feel on the chat board. You tell me, but God, Cheesy as hell. Andor is really good. I started watching Andor. I watched the first 2 episodes, kind of slow. No, I'm sorry. I'm into the second episode. I only watched the first and about a portion of the second, and it's kind of slow. I gotta say. I hope it picks up. I'm gonna give it a few more episodes, but that's Star Wars. That's different. But I gotta say, the Cobra Kai one. Ugh. Corn Isle Production says Cobra gets better. It gets a little better, Jonathan Cagle. I think you guys are kind of you're kind of giving it a little extra love. You're kind of massaging something. You're kind of putting a lipstick on a pig. It gets a little better. That's not good enough for me, Jonathan Cagle. I swear. What I saw, cheesy as all hell, man. I can't say that I'm for it, but anyway, what are you gonna do? Best season was when Danny went back to Okinawa. I'm just anyway. Agree. Slow start, not bad though. Are you talking about Andor? I guess. Okay. Andor is fire, I'm told. Okay. All right. I would figure that one is setting storylines at the beginning. So that's why I can't say anything yet about Andor, because that's what I told my wife. I go, it's kind of setting the scene and setting the storylines and all that kind of stuff. But she goes, wow, there was like no action in that first episode. There was, yeah, you give something to tease them, and I go, yeah, they're probably just setting storylines. And if I remember correctly, I think the Mandalorian started just a little slow and then it picked up and exploded out there. Wow. Okay. Oof. Damn. So the gas pipeline leaking, which bad in Europe. Not to get political, but boy, we could just eliminate the Russians. We have the oil to sell to Europe. And we can build our entire green grid by selling our oil to Europe and using the profits of that to build our entire green grid and crush Russia and eliminate that resource from them, making that money from Europe. I don't get it, but whatever. You want to get fast, you. Don't understand. I really don't. But, whatever. Doesn't matter who we put in office. It's just a clown show. Victor Wedas, thank you, sir. He says, check your Twitter. RG3 is the only one giving us respect. I tagged you in a post to a YouTube link. I'm glad he is. I'm glad that that he's doing it. I know that Orlovsky has been a Tua guy. There aren't a lot of Tua guys. I know that. There aren't a lot of Tua guys in the national media. Not too many. Most of the guys, and locally either, by the way. Whenever I've gotten in the car and I listen to the local station, I don't think any of those guys are Tua guys. They might be now. They might be getting on the phony bandwagon right now, but I only remember cries for Justin Herbert and stuff like that. That was the whining I heard locally on radio. So there aren't a lot of Tua guys. Cam's a Tua guy. Not like me, but he's a Tua guy. He's kind of him and Marcel are kind of like Tua guy. Barry Jackson's a Tua guy, actually. Barry is all in on Tua. I'll give Barry credit. He won't give me credit when I break a story, but I'll give him credit when he is on the bandwagon with us. Barry is one of the few that actually, I guess he assessed it the way I did, that Tua wasn't the problem the last 2 years. But yeah, there isn't a lot of people, nationally, locally, that were Tua backers. They were all Tua disbelievers and Tua doubters and all that kind of stuff. Pep says, Big O, you should run for POTUS. I'll die. You know why? Because it doesn't matter who POTUS is. Since Bill Clinton, you can't vote anybody in that's going to get people to work together anymore. Bill was the best at that. Too bad he was a predator and a disgusting, human being. And I use human being loosely, but politically, he was probably the best guy we had to bring the sides together to work. And we're so far apart now, my brother. It doesn't matter. The extremes are messing it all up on the right and the left. So it's so extreme on the right and the left that they cloud the right and the left. And it used to be where the right and the left could find some common ground on things, still disagree on a bunch of things. I don't think we'll ever vote for anybody again that can actually bridge that gap. So it doesn't matter who you vote in. It's going to be really hard for that person because, you're always fighting for power of the Senate and the House. It's just a whole convoluted crap, man. It's sad. We end up losing. That's all that happens. Every 4 years, we end up losing. Whatever side that you think you're on, you think you win, but you don't. You lose. But, whatever. It's fine. Most people aren't willing to be honest and look in the mirror and say, yeah, we vote in a clown every 4 years. It really doesn't get it done. Big O, Herbert looks like Thor, but plays like Loki, always losing. What can I tell you? I mean, I'm still waiting for all the whiny Justin Herbert bitches to come out and say, maybe he's not as good as I think he is. At least say that, At least say, yeah, I was enamored with the incredible talent. But again, I have to repeat it. There's a difference between talent and quarterback. It's two different conversations, completely. Jose Lucas, thank you, my friend. He says Tua has a chip on his shoulders for that LSU loss. Tua he's like every great player. They all have chips on their shoulders. Doesn't matter if you're Dwayne Wade, if you're Alonzo Mourning, if you're Shaquille O'Neal, if you're Walter Payton, if you're Larry Zonka, they all have a chip on their shoulders. Every one of them. Every one of them does not want to be denied. That's what makes their greatness. Every one of them finds a way to get better, to be great. You're a great player, and then you figure out a way to become a better player. And you come back the following year and you're like, holy shit, this guy's awesome. Now he added this to his game. Are you kidding me? And that's what great players do. It's their quest to never be denied. Never be denied to improve. Never be denied to excel. None of that stuff. They don't want to lose. They hate losing. That's what these guys, that's how they're wired. That's how these men and women are wired. And I don't care if you're Carrie Strug, right? She's the one that did it with the 1 foot, right? It was Carrie Strug, right? Was it? That, she did that she had the messed up leg and she did the vault and stuck the landing and she had a fractured foot. Great athletes have that burning determination that just doesn't stop them, and they want to beat you. They want to be perfect. They're never happy with their performances. All that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter if you're Marino. Doesn't matter if you're Tua. Doesn't matter. They're all wired the same way. And that hug with Tua and Josh Allen at the end of the game. See, the problem with a lot of you out there that have underestimated Tua because of the mess that he walked into and his injury in the first 2 years, he's a lot like Dwayne Wade. He's a babyface assassin. Remember when he was joking around the offseason that he looks at himself like a silent assassin, I think he called himself? It's exactly what those kind of guys are. That's what Tony Gwynn is. Happy-go-lucky, yada yada, comes to the plate and he's gonna stroke it. And then he's going to laugh about it and be cool and see you after and be jovial and all that. And that's how these great players, some of these great players are just amazing people. But when they're competing, they want to cut your heart out. That's Tua. Tua wants to cut your heart out no matter what. You can knock him out. He's going to try to come back. You can blow out his ankle. He's going to come back. You can blow out his hip. He's going to come back. Oh, I got a fractured rib. I got a fractured knuckle. No, I want to play. And I'm way better than Jabroni Brisket, even injured, which he proved. That's what that dude is. The problem with a lot of you that are starting to get converted is you look at his height and you looked at the physical talents, and you just thought that those talents aren't enough because you've seen better talent. Doesn't mean you saw better QB. And that's what Tua is, man. Tua's that guy. It's like Tim Duncan. Quiet, unassuming, really nice, fundamentally solid, that he's just going to cut your heart out. And then he'll shake your hand like a gentleman, and he'll walk away, and he'll say all the right things, because that's what great players, those kind of great players. There's the other kind of great players. There's the Deion Sanders types, the brash ones. Okay. Nothing wrong with that either. Aaron Donald, whatever, those kind of cats. Yeah. Larry Bird, braggadocious. There's those kind of great players. The great players come in all shapes and sizes and characters. And they could be quiet and unassuming, and they could be loud and obnoxious. But they back it up with their play every single time. And that's where, the whole misconception that goes in with Tua. But don't underestimate that guy. Dude's a winner, man. Dude's a guy you got to admire. Musa Hamaday says last year Tua had the least amount of attempts of 20-plus yards, and people bashed him for not acknowledging that he had no time to throw. Now he has time and leads the NFL in yards per attempt of 20-plus completions. They can kiss that. And Musa, who was the only media member on the planet at that moment? Because while Barry is a Tua guy, and maybe even Dave Orlovsky is a Tua guy, and they probably believed in him last year, they weren't with the conviction that I came out every time for the last 2 years and said, he's not the problem. It's everything around him. And especially last year, with those offensive coordinators and that offensive line coach, oh my God. That, and then you brought his quarterbacks coach from 7-on-7s, and that's just tough. So, yeah. And that's unfortunately, that's how simple of an equation it was, but others complicated it to hell and blamed Tua instead of looking at what was really wrong. Is everything around him. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Ho Yoon, thank you, sir. As always, appreciate you. As he makes a donation big time. Thank you. He says, have a great and safe week. Thank you, Ho Yoon. Thank you, as always, for being loyal to the program and always contributing and helping us out and growing a little bit every single day. By the way, our interviews from Heat Media Day, Sean and Chad did a great job down there yesterday. And we got some interviews. I think we'll do better next year. Mainly all of it my fault. And we'll probably do better next year. I promise you on that. But we did get several interviews, Had some fun with Orlando Robinson, so you can check it out. Jimmy Butler, Tyler Johnson, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry. The big names were there, and we got them, and you can check it out right there on our platform and check out those videos there. They are all posted by the man, the myth, the legend, that is Sean Stanley. Big O, new man cave. Which is it, brother? The one that you're in, or you might have a huge big screen in there? Huh? A new man cave, is it, brother? The one that you're in, you might have a huge big screen in there. I don't get that, Campos. I don't know what you're saying by that. But you never know. We could end up creating a new studio down the line. That could happen. Do you have a theory why UM has been such a disappointment in the last 20 years, no matter who the coach is? Troy, my theory on it is it's just you haven't gotten the right person. That's why they're terrible. And Mario is the right person. I believe he's the right person. But he's got to tweak it too. He's got to figure things out himself. This isn't going to be easy. I was thinking about this. This might be his Jimmy Johnson Maryland moment. And a lot of you are too young to understand because you weren't around for it. Some of you weren't even born for it. But Jimmy, I believe, ended the season 8-5 that year. Can you look it up for me, Sean? I want to say it was 1984, right? I think it was, because they won in 85. So I want to say it was 84, Jimmy's first year. He comes in, and they have kind of a mediocre season, and they ended with Frank Reich and the comeback from Maryland in that game, and they lose that game, and people are screaming from the top of their lungs like, who is this guy from Oklahoma State, yada yada yada, and kind of questioning it, and then things changed for Jimmy Johnson the following year, and the rest is history. Overall, I believe that's where it was. If you can look it up for me, Sean, I believe it was 84, and I believe they lose to Maryland. They dropped to 8-5 that season. And remember, they had just won the national title before. So it was just one of those things that people were pissed with Jimmy Johnson. And then he turned it around. And I'm wondering, what I saw this past week, is this his Maryland-like moment, even though that was a bowl game? Yes, sir, Sean. What do you got? Oh, yeah, I'm right? Okay, I'm right. Yeah, Frank Reich had like this monster comeback, and it was just one of those things that it was just crazy that they end up the season as ugly as they did. Just they were pissed. Okay, everybody was pissed. People were writing articles in the Miami Herald and Sun Sentinel, and I don't know. It was the Miami News might have still been around. I think the Miami News ended late 80s. We might have still had the news around at that time, if I remember correctly. Look that up, gentlemen. What year did the Miami News cease to exist? I want to say it might have been 88 or 89 when the Miami News ceased to exist. Maybe it got to 90. I don't know. Something like that. But anyway, so everybody was, they were hammering Jimmy Johnson at that time. And on, what was it, IOD or something, right? It was because we only had like one little sports talk show for an hour or two, and it was a 610. And it was an issue. And then he kind of fixed it. And that's what I'm thinking of with Mario. And I'm glad you brought this up, because I want to show you something with Mario. And this was his press conference from the other day. And you see that face? You see that face? He's pissed. I feel terrible for Mario. I like Mario personally. I'm rooting for Mario. But he effed up this weekend. He and his staff effed up. And what I loved about Mario is zero excuses. Not throwing any kids under the bus because that's not what he should do. It's more on him and his staff than on the kids than anything else. You can't play that stupid. You can't make that many mistakes. That falls on your coach. Even if you lack talent, it's all right to lack talent. But you can't have your talent play so undisciplined and make stupid mistakes. Let's get that straight. So Mario, look at that face. I love it. I love it because that dude is undeterred. He's going to work his ass off. He's going to try to fix this. He's a great human being. He's a fantastic coach, but he's got a huge job ahead of him. Because your question is, why does it continue to happen? Because you've continued to recruit the wrong players. And then on top of all of that, your coaches aren't good enough to turn over some of these players. And this coaching staff has made mistakes already. But they're entitled to it because they just got here. They're learning these kids and all of that. But some of their statements have been very irresponsible. And it starts and ends with the corner, DJ Ivey. Don't tell me what he does in practice, because whatever he's doing in practice, he's fooling your ass. Because I've been around this game for a long time and been covering it for a long time. If you don't play like you practice, even if you practice well, they bench your ass. They don't keep putting you out there. If it does not translate to the field, what you're doing in practice, they eliminate you eventually. And why DJ Ivey has not been eliminated, I have no idea. And that's on the coaching staff. Sorry, but that's on the coaching staff. There's lots of things on the coaching staff. And just because I like Mario, just because I'm rooting for Mario, doesn't mean I'm not going to lay the blame on Mario. I don't want him fired. I don't want him gone. I think he hasn't been here long enough to make an impact. And he hasn't been here long enough to really judge what he can do. So we have to wait till he gets the Javon Hollands of the world into the team. Because, all you have to do is be around Javon Holland. Okay, so those are the kind of guys he's going to recruit? Well, okay, we got to be patient now. As much as it sucks. But, Mario, while we await the right players, personality-wise, character-wise, professionalism, since you are getting paid, so we can call these kids, they are semi-professionals. While we await, you can't have the undisciplined play. Stupid penalties cannot happen. That's coaching. That's coaching. So as much as I'm a Mario fan, he's got a crap ton of work. There's only one really, 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 really good thing that has developed from all of this. Just like the Tua idiots, the ones that say he can't play, doesn't have an arm, those kind of idiots. Not the people say, well, I need to see a little bit more. The ones that made the determination that he can't play. Okay? You're all idiots. Let's just say that. Okay? You don't get to backtrack out of that. You don't get to change your mind out of that because you made your decision way too early. Okay? But the best part about it is the idiots that already had this team challenging for the ACC title and thinking that because Mario just got here and everything's going to change right away, that's the only good thing that came out of it, because it's like the Tua idiots and the Herbert idiots. It's like a bucket of cold-ass water was just thrown on you, because those of us that have some common sense, we told you, chill out, dude. That team's not that good. They're not winning the ACC. They're not challenging shit. If they can win the division, that would be one hell of an accomplishment. because you have the recruiting classes to beat and win in that division. But we'll see if you have the coaching staff that can coach out of it. But that's it. That's about the max that you can do is win that division. And the way they've played doesn't look like you're going to win that division either. You know, what can I tell you? I can tell you that Hialeah Park, we're going to be there normally Thursdays, 3 to 6 p.m. This Thursday, we're not doing 3 to 6 p.m. This Thursday, we're doing 10 to 1. Why? We have Dolphins pregame show. So at 6:15, we're on the air to get you ready for the 8:15 kickoff. So we'll get you ready for Dolphins pre- and post-game show also on Thursday. So we will have 3 shows on Thursday. The morning show, pregame, postgame, and then Friday. Thank the Lord we're off Saturday and Sunday because my voice is going to need it after that Thursday and then waking up on Friday in the morning and doing that show. That's going to be a hell. I mean, I'm telling you, man, I am going to have to really pace myself in a big time way. Ken says DJ Ivy had 2 strong games but looked lost again last week. I disagree with you, Ken. He made mistakes in the Southern Miss game too. Hell, he got burned. Didn't he get burned in the is it FAMU? Did they play? Who did they play in the first week? Was it FAMU? It was one of those kind of teams that hell, I think they caught on him. No, dude, DJ Ivy's been giving up plays. He's had moments like he did the week before that you're talking about, but he still gives up plays. He's terrible, man. Yes, sir.
It was Bethune-Cookman.
Bethune-Cookman. There you go. Bethune-Cookman, FAMU. What's the difference? A team you should throttle. You know. People are blaming OC Gaddis for our problems. I can blame some of it on him. I am. I've already mentioned this, and I mentioned this with Manny a couple weeks back. I don't think you make a complete change. You watch Mario's press conference when he talks about the struggles for the quarterback. He says, well, you know, they changed the scheme, and he lost 65. I believe he used the number 65% of his offense from last year. So it's an adjustment for him. Well, then if it is, then why don't you adjust to him? See, part of great coaching is not forcing your player to do everything that's in your system, because maybe by forcing him to do everything in your system, he may not be as good. But by using some of his strengths from the prior system to then include it in your system as you ease him into your full-time system, maybe that's the better way to do it. Josh Gaddis. Why don't you have elements of no huddle in there and speeding up the offense? Why don't you do some of the things that help him out and not put him strictly under center every single time? And in fact, there were moments where when you hurried it up, he looked a little better. So, yeah. Listen, I love Mario. I'm rooting for Mario. I don't want any changes whatsoever on Mario with the staff or anything like that. But I got to blame Mario. I'm also, just because I like Mario, just because I want Mario to succeed, just because I'm rooting for Mario and his staff, that I'm not absolving them when they screw up. No. And he's not doing it either. Just watch the press conference. Blamed himself too. Blamed his staff. Laid it on. He fell on that sword, and he has to. He has to. Mario Cristobal and his staff did a piss poor job against Middle Tennessee State. Are we clear on that? Piss poor. And against Texas A&M, mediocre offensively because you didn't finish drives. Bills put up 400 yards of offense. I don't give a shit, dude. You scored 15 points or 17 points. I'm sorry, it was 21-19, right? 17 points. because they gave him 2 points. I don't care that you scored. I don't care that you ran the ball. You had 400 yards of offense. What do you have to show for it? I don't care that you moved the ball all over Texas A&M. What do you have to show for it? It's the whole thing with Herbert and Tua. I don't care about Herbert's stats. What does he win? Oh, it's winning's not a stat. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Try telling me that on 3rd and 22 and 4th and 7. Screw you. Winning's not a stat. You got to be money so you can win, dude. So that's where Mario and his staff got to fall on the sword. As much as I love Mario and want him to win and rooting for him and all that, I don't sit here and make excuses for people. I love Tua, root for Tua. A couple weeks ago, I said it's unacceptable. He can't do those plays where he's still trying to hang on and then he commits a stupid mistake. As much as I love Tua, I got to point out when he does something wrong. And he even addressed it. Because if you're man enough, like Mario Cristobal said, it's time to be a man. It's time to look in the mirror. These are, he has all these cliches that he uses. I will say with Mario, my brother, you have the cliche meter locked down. Holy crap. Listen to those press conferences, and we should have a ding meter on the cliches because he is loaded, absolutely loaded with the cliches. Big O, Tua's 11-1 in his last 12 games. Other than Tua walking on water, he will never win over his haters. He knows how to win and not pad his stats. Super Bowl in 2 years, if not sooner. That's right. Tell you, I was just telling this to Sean yesterday. In another week or two, I'm gonna go secure an Airbnb in Phoenix. Just for the hell of it. Just for the hell of it. Do it now. Get it cheap, just in case. And because, if they are a Super Bowl contender by some crazy ass, the Bengals did it, so why can't the Dolphins do it? And they're better than the Bengals. So, if by some crazy ass thing they do it, I've got the Airbnb set. So Sean and I don't know if the C-Man wants to go with us, but we'll head off to the Super Bowl because we'll get a house, so we'll have plenty of room. So Chad, if you want to come, we'll have the last 2 trips, right? We've had our Airbnbs, right? Sean, we've had like a room or 2 being unused, right? I think in our last Airbnbs. So, yeah. And William, thank you for the love on the Super Chat. And Cutter's Edge Pro, I got to tell you, Cutter's Edge Pro if Mario had and his staff did what Will and his staff do, they would be winning a national title right now. They would be pros like cuttersedgepro.com. That's all you need. You need a great staff, and that's what separates them from any other landscaping company in South Florida. So you live in Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach counties, you call the great people at Cutter's Edge. And whether it's tree trimming, listen, we got storms. Folks, I don't want you climbing trees. I don't want you hanging out on your roof trying to cut that. Call the pros. From Cutter's Edge Pro, 954-472-0622. And listen, they've also got a weekly show on WIOD. Something tells me you might see somebody on that show soon. I don't know who it is, but I don't know. You might see somebody on that show making a little appearance every once in a while there. Hey, listen, from lighting the pathways to basic LED lights, to color-changing technology. That's what I do here at the house on Sundays. I make it dolphin colors. It's a beautiful thing. It really brings your landscape to life. It brings your house to life when you add the lighting, when you add the irrigation and everything. It makes life so much easier instead of you having to grab a hose every day and going out there to water your plants. Thank the Lord, Mother Nature is going to be watering our plants here for the next couple of days, which is a beautiful thing. Tree trimming, hazardous tree removals, tree inventory. They do it all, man. And by the way, when it comes to Cutter's Edge, landscape, outdoor lighting, irrigation, artificial grass, that has been the biggest blessing for me. The dogs come, even on days like this where it's raining And, hey, maybe there's a little bit of a light rain or almost stop raining. I let the dogs go out real quick, the big dogs, not the little dogs. And they do their business really quick and come inside, even with the water. No dirt, no tracks, no nothing. It's beautiful, man. I love it. That's the best part about artificial turf. They're not going to bring anything back into the house. They're not going to eat any grass because I've got 5 dogs and 1 or 2 of them do that stupid stuff every once in a while. They'll just eat something and then throw it up a couple minutes later, and then we're picking up the mess. Thanks to the Cutter's Edge Pro, folks, I don't have that mess problem anymore. It's a beautiful thing. CuttersEdgePro.com, 954-472-0622. Christian Cortez says, Big O, I got 2 words. Tua T. I love it. Did you know about Tua? Did you know that he has a very interesting stat line? Sean Stanley, can we share a very interesting stat that you guys may want to know about Tua and certain quarterbacks that he faces? You're not going to believe this, okay? Let me pull it up close to myself because I may not be able to read it off the screen here. You guys will be able to, but mine is a little small here. Since 2021, the Miami Dolphins are undefeated against starting quarterbacks whose last names contain the letter O. That's right. They have lost every game. Look at it. They beat Josh Allen. Well, I'm sorry, not Josh Allen. Mac Jones, its last name. Mac Jones. They beat Tyrod Taylor. They beat Lamar Jackson. They beat Joe Flacco. They beat Cam Newton. They beat Mike Glennon, Zach Wilson, Ian Book, Mac Jones, and Lamar Jackson. So if your last name ends with an O, it has an O in your name. Tua Tagovailoa. The good thing is I can still beat Tua because my last name doesn't have an O. Even though I am O, my last name doesn't have an O. So I have a chance against Tua. Now they're coming up with all kinds of funky stats. You got to love that, dude. You got to absolutely love that. BetUS, by the way, folks, is back for its 28th year of NFL action. BetUS offers the industry's biggest sign-up bonuses up to 200%. And BetUS has all your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, and MLB. BetUS offers everything, including live betting, MMA golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. And BetUS also has hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots with live dealers, and they're waiting for you at the tables. BetUS is a sportsbook with integrity and longevity, that is. And you know that you're going to get paid because they've been at this for a long time. I use BetUS. Got a push yesterday. Get BetUS.com. Go to it right now and get up to 200% in bonuses and promo code Big O. Nobody in the industry gives you better discounts than BetUS. Again, join now and mention Big O, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com. Join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin. Love it. Big O, I think the Bills play the Ravens this Sunday. I think the Ravens will win. Well, we'll find out. I don't think so, to be quite honest, because the Bills have the better offense, and their defense will still give, I think, Lamar some fits at times. So I believe that the Bills still are the better team over. Where is that game, by the way? That's the other thing. Where is that game? Is it in Buffalo or is it in Baltimore? Big O, thanks for the best Dolphins talk at work listening, sir. Thank you, Dolphin fan 4639. Very kind of you. Watching from Perugia, Italy, until the hotel Wi-Fi craps out. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you, man. Italy watching. That is awesome. That's so cool. I love when you guys tell me where you're at somewhere in the world watching the show. It just I love how we're a small community, you know, because we're right there. We're right next to each other. It doesn't matter where you're at in the world. We're all here together. And whether you're downloading it during the day or night or all of that, it's cool to see fans all over the world with the same kind of interest and supporting the platform. And please don't forget to support it with a smashing the like button. Whether you're listening to the podcast, watching on YouTube, watching on the Cuts channel. Those of you watching on the Cuts channel, make sure you hit the like button. It is very important. All channels, because I know we're on both channels. Avondale, Arizona, says Triple H. Dubbed MCZs is in Miami with us. Tampa going to get rocked by Ian. Yeah, unfortunately, man. It's at Baltimore. Okay. All right. I think the Bills are still a better team. That defense is still good. And that offense, man, that offense is a pain in the ass. Bucks are being allowed to practice at the Dolphin facility. Let's talk a little bit about that. I saw that because obviously the Storm is going to the Tampa area, so Tampa had to go somewhere to practice. And Miami is the place where they're coming to practice, and Miami won't need the facility after today pretty much because they'll probably fly out tomorrow morning or maybe today, actually, because of the storm. They might leave today, actually, because it's only going to get worse. I doubt it. They probably leave today. But I have a problem with this. I do. I have a problem with this because I have a problem with our owners. This Bruce Beal guy pisses me off. This a-hole, along with, Mickey Mouse, cost the Dolphins a first and a third round pick. And I get it. Mickey knows nothing about the sport, right? He owns the team. He's a billionaire and all that stuff. But Bruce Beal's the evil one too, man. He's hey, Mickey, I know Tom Brady. I can get him for you. You sure? And so now his buddy gets to come practice here in the Dolphins facility. Why? Why be decent? Why help the Bucks? Screw the Bucks. Make them fly to somewhere else, across the country or something. No, I'm sorry. No, because of the issue with Brady in the offs, and we don't want anything. No. Why are the Dolphins helping the Bucks? Why? You're trying to compete for a championship, right? You're 3-0. I don't know if you're a championship caliber team. It's kind of crazy to think that the Dolphins are a team that's going to the Super Bowl, but they're 3-0. And crazier shit has happened, as you saw Cincinnati last year. And again, I will reiterate and repeat. I believe Mike McDaniel and his staff are actually better than the Cincinnati staff. And I believe the Dolphins right now have a better team than the Bengals. Overall, talent, top to bottom, better. So what happens? And the Bucks are trying to win a championship, but why are you helping them? I actually have a problem with this. I'm not joking about this. I'm not making this some kind of shtick or something or have fun with this. Screw the Bucks. Screw the Bucks. Go fly to Detroit, bro. I don't care. No, I'm sorry. We're fumigating our facility. It was a great opportunity. We got a Thursday game, so our guys are leaving on Tuesday, so we're fumigating for a couple days. We really apologize. That's it. I'm not for helping the Bucks, dude. I'm not for helping Bruce Beal and his buddy. I got to say. All right? Giselle and Tom have enough money. Go rent a facility somewhere else in the world. I'm actually completely against it. But what are you going to do? It is what it is. Liba says the Miami Dolphins defense has allowed a total of 3 points in the second half of our last 3 games. Who told you that? Well, they allowed 2 this past week in the fourth quarter. They allowed 3. That's 5 points. But I get what you're saying. The defense, right, is what you're saying? Okay. And it's not the second half because they allowed 3 points in the first game, 7 in the second, and 3 in the third. Just so you'll know, you're a little bit ahead of me here. Again, thank you for bringing this up. Let's talk a little bit about the Dolphins team. Did you know that the Miami Dolphins have allowed 59 points in the first half in the first 3 games of this season and 18 points in the second half of this first 3 games? 59 points in the first half of the first 3 games, 18 points in the second half. I'm not going to go, Liba, and thank you for the super chat. I'm not going to go just on defense because you lose the game on defense, offense, and special teams. You win the game on defense, offense, and special teams. So if you allow a punt return or kick return, or if you allow a safety, or if you allow a blocked field goal that gives them field goal position or whatever, it is what it is, right? So this is amazing. This is pretty cool stuff. So 59 points they've allowed in the first half of the first 3 games, 18 points in the second half of the first 3 games. They are allowing 1.6 points in the fourth quarter alone. Let me repeat that again. They are allowing 1.6 points per game in the first 3 games in the fourth quarter. They have allowed a total of 5 points in the fourth quarter in the first 3 games. They've allowed a total of 13 points in the third quarter of the first 3 games. And they've allowed a total of 17 points in the first quarter of the first 3 games. The sore spot is the second quarter. The second quarter, they allowed 14 the first week, 21 the second week, and 7 last week. 42 points they have allowed in the second quarter. Somehow or another, they've got to fix that second quarter because the rest of the quarters are very manageable and incredible. But if you think about it, the Dolphins, offense, defense, special teams, you name it, in the second half, for those of you that like to complain about Josh Boyer, in the first game, 3 points in the third quarter, 0 points in the fourth quarter. In the second game, 7 points in the third quarter, 3 points in the fourth quarter. Last week against the Bills, 3 points in the third quarter, 2 points in the fourth quarter. So no matter what happens in the first half, and especially in that second quarter, the Dolphins come out in the second half and figure out a way to limit their teams. It's pretty impressive overall. Figured I'd do that homework and show you guys all around what the Dolphins are doing as a team, because it's not just defense. Everything gives up points and scores points. So you've got to kind of include it as a team. When you just use the defense, it's kind of deceiving because if you've got a bad special teams unit or offense, they're probably costing you points too along the way. So you've got to include that. So that's why I included the whole team, not to dress it up better and make it look better than really it has to be. Let's just show you the raw numbers right there. And the Dolphins in the second half. Wow. Impressive. Hour number 2 of the Big O Radio Show, powered and mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe, is up next.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right, we are back for hour number 2 of the program. And after Liba, thank you for the love on the super chat. Just Eddie says it must kill Ross to be away from the team while they are playing the best football in decades. Is ownership jinxing our Fins? You know, I saw that super chat, and I've got a great answer for you. Yes. And yes. And yes. Oh, and by the way, did I tell you, yes, Stephen Ross, stay away from the team. Listen, Stephen Ross is a great owner because he'll spend, and that's where it ends. Okay? I gave you a wrap with it and everything. All right? I'm not Roger Moran. I'm not a Solo D or anything like that. No, those are Those are rapping fiends there, okay? But yes, he's a detriment to this franchise. Vinny Viola and Doug Sifu will spend just like him. They would do the same kind of thing. So it doesn't take any skill to say, yeah, I'll sign a check. But boy, does it take a skill to say, I'm going to celebrate Tim Tebow and the Gators when one of my tenants is the Canes. Yeah, no. When you get suckered by Ndamukong Suh at a Detroit Red Wings game, and you want to give him the world because you think he's going to make your defense all world, yeah, you're a detriment to this team. When you're in the middle of interviewing for head coaches and you love Philbin, you think he's the next Shula, or you love Gase, yeah, you're a detriment to this team. When you are constantly scheming after you hire Chris Grier, and for the record, I just want to say this. Can I say this? Can I say this? And this is not good on my part. Let me just say, because it just kind of, it makes it sound like it's all me, but I don't know. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm the only person on the planet. Listen to me now. I'm the only person on the entire planet. Media, fans, everything. Doesn't matter who. A couple years back, I wrote an article in The Athletic. I said it on Sirius Radio, and I said it on QAM locally. You have to fire Tannenbaum, and you have to fire Gase and hire Chris Grier. I really wonder if he listened to me, because I was the only one that said that. I don't think anybody else did that. Inside that building or outside that building, to be quite honest, I think I'm the only one that said it. I think he kind of went by that, but whatever. But anyway, so you hire Chris Grier and then you scheme against him because him, Marvin Allen, and Reggie McKenzie, they like Tua. They want to build the team around Tua. So now you work against the people you hire because you and Bruce Beal want to recruit Tom Brady. And then, unfortunately, Chris Grier and company did screw up with Brian Flores because you hired a guy that now turns on you. And he wants to take over personnel. He basically wants your ass fired. And he wants Jordan Love. Okay? So not only are your owners scheming against the guy you hired, but then you get caught with the whole Brady mess, and you cost your team a first and a third round pick. So on the field, Stephen Ross is a major detriment to this team. He's not bad luck. He is bad, period. And that's the problem. I don't know who gets in his ears, and they're big. I don't know who gets in them, but somebody gets in them and manipulates him easily. That's why I think his ears heard me. I'm serious, because who else said that? No one. No one was talking that. You know why? Because in those days, what was the narrative? Oh, no, Chris Grier is part of the problem. And it's like, no, he's not, dude. He's not the guy making decisions. But whatever. A lot of you still probably think that way. You're kind of shutting up now because the team is kicking ass under him, finally, so you're not saying anything. But I'm just telling you, is he a detriment to this team? Oh, my God, yes, he is. Yes. We have to stop. We have to compartmentalize that word we love using here. The fact that he's willing to sign a check for anything, and then everything else he does, that's why it makes him a bad owner. Yeah, he's a great owner because he'll sign a check, but then he will then set his team back on everything that he wants to do. Instead of shutting the hell up, sit in your owner's box, invite your friends and family members over, You're the rich guy. You own the stadium. You own the team. Go down to the field. Say hi to the players in pregame. Go congratulate them in the locker room. Get the hell out and leave the football people do their job. So, yes, Just Eddie, thank you for the super chat. There's no doubt in my mind that Stephen Ross is an absolute detriment to his own team. Instead of helping his team, he hurts his team more than he helps them. And now that he's away, and now that he's not meddling, and now that Chris Grier doesn't have any idiots in the periphery like Flo, like Ross, he gets to go on and do his job and do a really good job. So your answer is hell yeah, Just Eddie. Stephen Ross needs to stay away from the team. Just sign checks. That's it. Don't do anything else. Sign checks, or his daughter sign checks, and let the football people do their jobs. Dolphin fan 4639, thank you for the love on the super chat, man. Very nice of you. Steven Gonzalez, another super chat there. Oh, do you see Grier making a move at the deadline to improve this team? Steven, I'll give you the lazy, easy answer. I wouldn't be surprised. Right. I can't predict it because I don't know exactly what they're going to need by the time the deadline rolls around and what injuries or what issues they have, or maybe they don't have issues. But come on, man. We're talking about Chris Grier. Nobody makes more deals. He's a wheeler and a dealer, man. So thank you, Steven. Appreciate you with the super chat. Very nice of you. EJD Construction, by the way, is a proud sponsor of our program. We love EJD Construction. Eric and the great people out there. Listen, stop calling people that are not fully insured. If you have them working in your home and they get injured, they can sue you. So get somebody fully insured, liability, workers' comp, custom home construction, major home remodeling. Eric doesn't pull up at Home Depot to pick up 4 guys and then show up at your house. No, these are all trained professionals, and they do all kinds of custom work that is in your home, or they can redo your entire home. If you need to gut your entire home out and modernize it, they can do it. You need to redo that roof, they can do it. You need to add a second floor, they can do it. You want to add a deck on top of your roof so you can hang out and check out the stars and enjoy a cigar or whatever the hell you want, they can do that too. In fact, they did that for one of our listeners. That's why I mentioned it. I just mentioned that because I was just told that a couple days ago that we had a listener that actually has a second level house. And on top of that second level house, he built a deck to view the sunset and all that kind of stuff, which is actually really cool. I don't know if I could do that here in my house, but I would love that. I have a second floor in my house. That would be so cool to build. I'd probably build like a little balcony out of my bedroom, and then a staircase up to a second level where you can just sit back and I can look out west. That would be actually really cool. That's a great idea, man. When Eric told me he did that for one of our listeners, I was like, wow, that is badass. I would love to do that, but that's what I'm talking about. He does all kinds of things. You want to remodernize that kitchen and gut it out because it's old? Call ejdconstruction.com, 305-433-4843. Save it on that cell phone, 305-433-4843 for ejdconstruction.com. The way San Francisco is playing, we're going to have a good pick. Yes, we are. I would hope so. And looking forward to it. Grier had no idea Flores was a megalomaniac. Once Flores got the power, his true self emerged. The worst part about it is greater good. Okay, and I've mentioned this before. Nobody will tell you this, but I'll tell you this because I got the insight on it. That when they met with the man, they literally said, "You're not going to turn into Belichick, right? You're not going to do some of the things that happened to McDaniel and Matt Patricia and that kind of stuff." Oh, no. I'm going to be my own man. The rest is history. They specifically asked him that in their meeting. Specifically. And he completely lied. There's not an honorable thing about that guy. Okay? That's been the phoniness of this whole thing. That he's somehow this guy of integrity when he coached with a guy that cheats like it's going out of style in New England. So all of a sudden now you have scruples? Come on, dude. Give me a break. And then Belichick, who's been nothing but good to you, you then expose his texts? And then Greer, the guy that hired you, you're going against his back and trying to get him fired practically? Brian Flores is disgusting in every level, dude. It's this facade that does not, it's just a facade because the actions are completely different. And the way he treated Tua was incredibly unprofessional. Everything about that guy is phony, dude. Because you see one thing and then completely the opposite. For me, that guy, and look what's going on. Look what's going on. No more slow starts. This is why I picked them to go to the playoffs, because they were a 9-10 win team without this staff and without some of the offensive talent that they've added. Now you add that offensive talent, you add the staff, and you were kind of a 9-10 win team with a coach that doesn't know anything about offense. Well, now you should be a playoff team with the coach that knows offense. And my God, they're 3-0 and they're, pacing to be a playoff team. Wow, what a concept. But everything about Flores just smells like phony, dude. Phony. Christopher Henry, thank you for the love on the super chat. Remember, you can also make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Joe Spencer says, I was one of the ones against Chris Greer the last year or so, but I was wrongfully based on wrong info that I fell for. I admit to being wrong, and thanks for setting me straight. See, Joe Spencer's a stud. Because just like Joe, I'm going to be wrong a shit ton of times. But the difference is I'll look you in the face and I'll say, dude, I was wrong. I was wrong. I thought Garoppolo would be a pretty good quarterback. No, he's a choker. He's got the talent, but he's a choker. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I'm going to tell you. I love Brock Osweiler as a project in the third round. That's the only caveat to my thing, but I did like Brock Osweiler as a project in the third round. I was wrong. Denver took him in the second, but I understood why Denver took him in the second because they were a winning team. They had to replace a quarterback. They were picking in the back end of the draft, so they didn't think he would last to the back end of the third round because he is a third rounder and whatever. But it was a failed pick. Whatever. Happens. You're going to be wrong about stuff, but you got to admit it at least. That's all. Take the L, man. We're all going to take the L. There's nothing wrong with that. The worst part is not willing to admit that you're wrong. That's the worst part. That's the part that doesn't fly. Ragin says, I don't care about past coaches anymore other than that Josh Shula. We have an awesome coach now. Even some Bills fans I hang out with think Mike D is a great coach. There you go. Boy, that Bills Nation is nervous. They're talking all that stuff. They are nervous. Woo. Woo, doggy. George says, I have Joe Burrow and T. Higgins on my fantasy football team, but I don't want to play them versus the Dolphins, not because I'm a fan, but because I believe the Dolphins D is going to mess him up. Well, I mean, if you have better options. Listen, send in your questions at 1 o'clock. We're going to have Andy Behrens on. So send them into the Welt and Rayom text line, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056 on the Welt and Rayom text line. Send in your fantasy questions so we can ask Andy at 1 o'clock. Yeah, I'm wrong about Jimmy G, says Big Rig. There you go. I mean, a lot of us, dude. A lot of us. And watching him now, by the way, he had this statement that he told the sideline reporter that, well, staying here and re-signing, I feel great. I feel like I can play with ease and let it fly and all that. And I interpreted it like, yeah, I'm playing and I don't really care because, they didn't want me initially, but I'm taking backup money. So I'm going out there with no pressure because I'm not the starter anyway. So whatever happens, happens, and I could care less. That's how I read into Jimmy G's comments. I don't know if you guys caught the same thing, but to me, if I'm a Niners fan, I'm a little bothered by the way he answered that question. Because normally the guy that comes off the bench wants to keep the job, wants to, play well and all that kind of stuff. And instead of saying that, I would have rather Jimmy G say, well, listen, I get that they're trying to make the move to Trey, and it's really sad that he got injured. This is a great opportunity for me. Obviously they've moved on with Trey. Now they need me. I got to go out there and prove that I can come through for my teammates here in San Francisco. And at the same time, I'm proving to other people around the league that I'm still a starting franchise quarterback and a guy that can lead a team to a Super Bowl. That's probably what I would like to hear from Jimmy Garoppolo. Not, well, the good thing is I can play freely and have no cares in the world. And I'm like, whoa, dude, wow. That's not what I want to hear from my quarterback. I want my quarterback to be like Atlas, right? The world is, you're carrying the world. Yeah, you're there and you're like, yeah, I'm lifting the world. Even though the quarterback can't lift the world, I want him to think he can. I want him to think that the world is his responsibility. And I don't literally mean the world. I mean everything that's encompassing that football team at that moment. It falls on Brady, it falls on Tua, it falls on Josh Allen, it falls on Justin Herbert, it falls on Derek Carr, it falls on that's the way I like it, personally for me. I want my quarterback to be the general of the team, that he is assuming responsibilities for everything and anything that is going on. That's how I like it. That's not Jimmy Garoppolo. That's not Jimmy Garoppolo. And the one thing, when I saw that statement from Garoppolo, what it told me is this is why I was wrong. This is why. Because he's a pretty boy. Because his priority is not football. That's why he signs a contract and then disappeared for a couple months. Wouldn't return calls or anything. He was living his life. He doesn't care. And then when he comes back, he treats it like a job. It's funny. Now that I'm talking about this, Eric Reed and I were talking yesterday at Heat Media Day. And we were talking about, what a crazy ass business, I work in and all that. And he was telling me the crazy story on how he became the Heat guy and all that stuff. And we had this young guy next to us. I don't know the young man's name. But and Eric and I was looking at him. I said, Eric, the only people that survive in this business on a long term are the people that truly care about their craft. The people that treat it like a job, because the money's not there, especially early on, the money's not there. You don't survive in this job. You don't survive in this career. You must truly love it. And the people that you see are there constantly. Ira Winderman works like an animal, but he loves it. You can tell he loves it. Okay? Barry Jackson was with us at Dolphins at Heat Camp, and then he went up to do McDaniel at Dolphins. Yeah, he's working a job, but Barry has a passion to do this shit. Joe Rose, making bank, doing TV and radio, and lacking a crap ton of sleep. But bet your ass that he did it also because he's really good and he enjoys it. He loves what he does. That's why I don't think he does it anymore now because of some other things, but He would even be there on Monday after, an overnight flight or late flight or whatever, and he'd be there to do the morning show because he gives a shit, dude, because he has passion for this. That's why he's lasted so long. That's the way it is. Now, obviously, he did screw up the Tua and the Herbert stuff. You're not getting away with that one, Joe. Okay, I got you and the other fellas in the morning. Yeah, anti-Tua and Herbert lovers. But overall, I'll bust Joe's balls for that for a while. But you can't deny what Joe Rose is, dude. Freaking stud. Just because he got it wrong with Tua and Herbert, he's still a stud. But, that's all right. It's all good, Joe. It's all good. But I got you. Anyway, so the only people that last in this business that you see long term are the people that really love what they do. Okay? Sean works with me here because he loves what he does, and he's got incredible work ethic like I do. And that's part of this whole thing. And it's a really strange business. But if you don't have a passion for it, this is the kind of business that will test your love for it. Because if you don't have a love for it, you will not last. And if you treat it like there was a writer for the Herald, and I won't mention his name. He's no longer with us. And no, it's not Edwin Pope. Let me make sure. Let me get that out of there because Edwin's like the god of all gods. He's so awesome. Just a golden person, by the way. Not only was he a great writer for those of you that, but I got to know him also on the side, and just a fantastic human being. But anyway, there was this writer that was in the Herald, and that son of a bitch, all he ever did was complain wherever we were at. I lost all respect for him. All respect. I'm a young buck in the business. I'm in my 20s. And this guy, I've been reading his articles for a while and does a good job, by the way. Good writer. But, oh, my God, when I got to meet him and see him and all that, I was, wow, what a miserable human being. He complained about having to wait 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes for the locker rooms to open, because sometimes that's how it is. We do a lot of waiting. We do. We sit around a lot. Man, I remember one time we were at LaSalle waiting for a Heat practice after a couple of brutal losses. And I shit you not, we were 6 hours waiting for practice to end. They watched film for like 3 hours and practiced for like another 2+ hours. We were in LaSalle so long that we went to Cazola's. We all made a little pot there. Everybody put in some cash, and we went and got some big ass pies at Cazola's, because LaSalle and Cazola's are pretty close to each other. And then brought back the pies, and everybody was eating pizza, and that's how long we were there. 6 hours. Now, I'm not telling you that happens all the time, but it'll happen that you'll wait for hours and hours. Yesterday, we were at Heat Media Day. We had to wait for, this player to trickle in, that player to trickle in, all that stuff. We do a lot of waiting, man. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of passion to do this job. And that guy would complain about anything and everything. And I lost all respect for him. And then I also ended up disliking him because I feel we're privileged. I do, at least, because I do something that I love for 32 years. Finishing up my 33rd year now. And for me, that's awesome. I get to do what I love. Are you kidding me? What? I get paid to do what I love? That's why we did a morning show yesterday. We went out to Heat Camp, and then we came back and did an afternoon show. Tonight we're doing this show. Today we're doing this show. Tonight we'll be on 7 to 9 p.m. I'll be on 7 to 8 with the State of Florida Gridiron Roundtable with 3 insiders from the Canes, Seminoles, and Gators. And why? Because I have a passion to build this platform up for South Florida sports fans all over the world, because nobody else is going to do it. Clearly, nobody else is going to do it. QAM has no money. They're just running out of employees. They're just continuing to fire and fire and fire more people until, they're just a syndicated station. When Joe leaves in February and all that money walks out, that will be the ultimate crippling job for them, and they'll be done. They'll maybe have one show left or something, if anything. It's bad. It's bad, folks. It's bad. Uncle Neil made a career out of complaining. He was the best. But that was his shtick. That's different. He clearly loved doing what he did, no matter what he told you. But that was shtick. That's different. There's a difference between somebody making it, part of their show than somebody that actually really is unhappy with the whole situation, I would tell you. So, what Neil liked to do, he just was babbling along. It was just all about babbling and babbling and babbling and babbling. And that's kind of what we have to do in this world. We got to babble. And you can babble too, by the way. And you can use our code Big O. That's right, Babbel, baby. The language learning app. Yes, some of you tried to learn another language in high school or college. Probably didn't work out. Well, Babbel now, the language learning app that has sold more than 10 million subscriptions. It's addictively fun and an easy way to learn a new language, whether you're traveling abroad, connecting in a deeper way with family, or you just have some free time. Babbel teaches bite-sized language lessons that you can actually use in the real world. Babbel's 15-minute lessons make it a perfect way to learn a new language on the go. Other language learning apps use AI for their lesson plans, but Babbel's lessons were created by over 100 language experts. And their teaching methods, by the way, have been scientifically proven to be effective. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages: German, Italian, French, and a little Espanol. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you to improve your pronunciation and your accent. That's what, when they say that they've created, that their lessons are created by 100 language experts instead of AI like others, this is part of it. So that way you're learning, you're listening, and you're hearing it in the native tongue. So that way it helps you with the pronunciation. It's really an awesome way to do it. So many ways to learn with Babbel. Besides the lessons, folks, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. Plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. So start learning your new language learning journey today with Babbel. Right now, save up to 60% off your subscription when you go to Babbel.com/Big O. That's Babbel.com/Big O for up to 60% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. All right. 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line, that's 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line. Big O, genuine. Is there a reason why Barry is always the first to ask a question at Finn's media conference? No, it just works out that way. Ira does it at the Heat press conferences a lot. He'll be the first guy. No big deal. Just kind of part of the whole thing. Yes, Zaslow was fired. He's looking for a new gig. Where? Who's hiring? I mean, I hope the best for Zaslow, but there's no radio stations hiring. That's not going to happen. Now, maybe he can go on his own like what we're doing, Maybe he might be able to do that. But there are no radio stations unless he's moving out of town. Maybe out of town, but nothing in South Florida. Sports talk is done. You guys know that, right? I mean, it's just a matter of time. All they do is eliminate. Joe be gone in a couple months, and that's it. It's over, bro. And that place is in really bad shape. Dub, what do you got there? What did I see there? What was that? Oh, okay. That wasn't a super chat. I got you. Only QAM shows I've actively listened to the past few decades are Joe, Sid, and O. Dub MC says, yes, people were freaking out about Tua's injury with the Bills, but don't forget he came back because he had over 40 minutes of game time taken away from him on the rest of the sidelines. Maybe QAM can go back to being a country music station. Brother, they're going to do something because, they were doing that gambling stuff, and that wasn't working. And I think they're simulcasting now what they do on QAM over to 790. I mean, think about it. You think about what a joke that is. So you don't have enough money to run two stations, so you have to simulcast it. So you're losing even more money. This is such a stupid company, Odyssey. They ended up buying all these stations, and they don't have the money to run it. They don't have the intelligence to run it. They don't have the sales staff to run it. And all they do is get rid of talent that can actually bring in money for them. And what they kept a lot of were the people that weren't producing money. I knew when you fired Jade Alexander, that's all I need you to know from you. That's it. When they did that a couple years ago, I knew that this business is done. Jade Alexander is like money, dude. She's like golden. She's one of the best people you'll meet. I don't know her as well because I only, got to run into her in the building a couple times or whatever, but I know of her reputation. I know all the people that have worked with her. This woman had great ratings, was an exceptional person to work with, great with the sponsors, had a ton of sponsors, and you fired her. There was no reason to fire her. Listen, you want to let me go? I don't take shit. So, Len Weiner or whatever, I wasn't going to take shit from that schmuck. He doesn't. He has no clue on how to run a station. All he does is know how to destroy a station. So I get me. I understand me because I know who I am. I'm a hard ass. So I know it. I work hard. I'll produce, but I'm not going to take shit from you. And I'm not going to kiss your ass or kiss the team's ass or whatever you want me to do. I don't do that. Greg Reed never asked me to do that, ever. Love working for the Beasleys and Greg Reed. Never asked me to do that. They could have all the relationships with the team, and they would say, no, that's his opinion. He's entitled to an opinion. That's why we hire him. That was Greg Reed. That's why QAM was a monster in those days. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame what's going on there. Big O, Jimmy G's contract will change if he becomes a starter and performs. You did not hear anything I said, but okay. Big O is his soapbox, is on his soapbox today. Yes, I am. I'm always on my soapbox. Big O isn't the guy who runs QAM related to, yeah, no. Just realized I can't remember the last time Miami converted on a 3rd and 20 since before the Bills game. You know why, Karen? Because you haven't had a quarterback like this since Marino. That's where those of you that don't want to believe and you want to deny and all that crap, Tua is the best quarterback since Marino. And those are the facts. And that's why you can do 4th and 7 and 3rd and 22. And I still say the throw when he got injured this week, that was a hell of a throw, dude, because he was off balance. Go look at that throw. That was awesome. Obviously, the Craycraft one was terrific. The 3rd and 22 was magical. But I loved that 3rd down throw where he got, I hate the fact that he got injured there in that throw, but he was off balance. And that's not really his kind of throw, and he zipped it in there. I thought that was really, really cool because that's one of those kind of throws that the big men make, not the little guy. In fact, I want you to go back and look at that throw. And here's something that's a little blasphemous for some of you out there. Drew Brees can't make that throw. But that's all right. Whatever. Let's see. The dart to Craycraft was my favorite. The football was a blur as he stuck it in the Craycraft. Yeah. No, it was awesome. It was awesome. The window, get it between the guys, awesome. Like he did the week before when he got the one before the other four that my boy Poupar was not impressed with, that he ended up getting to Hill in the second window of that route. That was pretty cool. People are shocked the guy they said was trash would perform this way with the right coaches and Alabama-esque roster of weapons. Yep, exactly. When all they had to do was use common sense. Okay, it must be really shitty around him because when he was in Alabama, he was kicking ass, and now you're watching it, and there he is. Is Craycraft going to be elevated to the 53? Yeah, I think so. Anthony says, Mike Florio, are you a fan of his? Pro Football Talk is a great resource. They've got, I go to it for some stories, but as for Florio, nah, he's a clickbait artist. That's what he is. He was, he had Tua traded and cut and all that stuff a whole bunch of times. He was another one of those anti-Tua guys playing off of it. That's all. So, yeah. Do they get some stuff right? Of course. They do get a bunch of stuff wrong, too. But they get the headlines, and they get them as fast as anybody or faster than most. So I give them credit. So it's a resource you've got to check, but sometimes you've got to verify. Let's put it that way. Big O Josh Allen couldn't make that throw that game when it counted. He one-hopped it. I had no idea that he was 1-7 in games decided under 6 points. Did you guys know that? Somebody gave me that stat yesterday. I think it was actually Poupart that corrected me on it because I thought it was like 2 of 7. It's 1 of 7 or something. Something stupid. It's something really bad that Josh Allen got a terrible record in games decided under 6 points. Interesting. Very interesting. So, Big O Craycraft is slowly being the BB of the Bills when the team needs a catch. He's there. Yeah. I think a couple of guys can do that on this team, and I just think that it's also Tua finding people, Diggs came out on Le Batard, and he said he had never been as tired as he was on Sunday. Yeah, no, he was cramping up and everything. Yep. Yeah, he was hurting, man. No doubt he was hurting in a big time way. We live on the edge every day, and you can also live with Edge energy drink right there, baby. MyEdgeDrink.com. When I tell you it's delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste, oh baby. This weekend, okay, I'm going to have a little Edge and a little vodka because after Friday's show, after we're done at Acura, Sean and I, we're done for the weekend. We don't get a lot of weekends off in the football season, especially now that we've taken on the responsibilities of doing the Hurricanes on Saturday and Sunday. But this weekend, I'm going to whip out the barbecue for the first time in a long time. And dogs will be out. We'll be enjoying our backyard, and I'm going to be enjoying a little Edge energy drink. Delicious, smooth, zero aftertaste, only 78 calories, but I'm going to get a little Grey Goose vodka and mix it in as an elixir, and it just makes that vodka disappear, and it tastes so good, so smooth, so dangerous, by the way. Seriously, because that combination is so good that it's like water going down your throat. And you're like, wow, this is Edge and vodka, little Grey Goose. Wow, this is amazing. So check it out and save 10%. Use our code Big O. You can't buy it in a store, so don't rush out now. Don't get in your car going, oh, wait a minute, I got to get some Edge. No. All you got to do is go right onto your phone, laptop, computer, go to myedgedrink.com, order it, use our code Big O, and get 10% off. And I promise you, you're going to keep reordering and reordering because Edge Energy Drink is delicious, smooth, and has zero aftertaste. Take my word for it and use our code Big O, get 10% off myedgedrink.com. Adam Sadowski says, just went resource shopping and just now checking in out here in Boynton Beach, hoping everything is safe. Let's go Fins. Amen. Amen. Get your stuff. You just never know. Green Lion says, Frankie, some nobody. They're not spending, so nobody credible will coach Marlins. Man, oh, yeah. That's yes. Big O, what does Big O barbecue, churrasco, ribeye chicken? I love barbecue. I love churrasco, and I love ribeye chicken. Ribeye and chicken. I love me some churrasco. I love me some brisket. Ooh, some really good brisket. Yeah. And I've picked up new habits now. I'm trying to develop new habits on fighting my uric acid so I can enjoy a little more meat. So I'm eating more walnuts. I'm eating more almonds, bananas. There's some berries. So I'm trying to like incorporate a lot of that stuff in my diet that will help, vitamin C also is very important to lower your uric acid levels. So taking a couple 1,000 milligrams, even though I take my Nature B to boost my immune system. But apparently I was reading because of, I don't really get to eat meat much. I don't. I may eat it once on average every 10 or 12 days, 14 days. And that's just not enough, man. So I want to be able to do it 2 or 3 times without getting a shot of gout there. So I'm trying to change my diet, and I've read up on all this kind of stuff, all these different foods that will, kill your uric acid and lower it and keep it kind of, and maybe some of you have some tips out there, something that works for you. You can pass it on also if you have it. But man, it sucks when you have that gout, you just cannot enjoy a steak sandwich as much as you want, brisket as much as you want, ribs as much as you want, And I like my barbecue. I like my steaks, man. Love my steaks. God. Every time I go to Tampa, I got to go to Burns Steakhouse. Have to. Kidding me? Can't go without a Chateaubriand. Impossible. Greatest piece of meat on the cow. Mob rule. Losing close games equals folding under pressure. Tua is elite in those situations. Tua never folds under pressure. This is why Tua is superior to Herbert, Allen, and Burrow. Time will prove this out. I would not do that with Burrow, bro. I would not play that game, my brother. Burrow's a mother. I love Burrow. Herbert, I don't believe in. I know his physical talent is sick. I get it. He can make amazing throws and all that, but yeah, I don't know about his ticker. I got to see that. Allen, he's a tough hombre, bro. He's made so much improvement. I got a lot of respect for Josh Allen. But I'm not doing that to Joe Burrow, bro. Not doing that to Joe Burrow. He's a player and a half. I love Joe Burrow, man. No. I saw it at LSU and now in the NFL. Just like Tua, I saw it at Alabama, and now you're seeing it in the NFL. Certain guys have that it quality. I'm not doing that to Joe Burrow, bro. Joe Burrow's the shit. That's you're going a little overboard on being a fan there on that one. We have to give people the respect that they deserve when they've earned it. And Josh Allen has turned into one bad mother effer, man. and you got to give him credit. And Joe Burrow is a bad mother effer. Okay? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking, just because I love Tua and just because I want him to succeed, I'm not going to take away credit from people that deserve it. I will argue with you about other quarterbacks up to Tua. We can have the Herbert discussion if you want, but we're not having the Burrow discussion. Burrow is the man. I'm not. That dude is the bomb. Big O's house. EJD fixed up his place. Yes, sir. And you should call EJD to fix up yours if you need it. It feels like 82 to 85 with the Fins. I sense that same kind of optimism. I hope so. Would be nice. Would be really nice. What else do we have here that I wanted to talk about on the program? Oh, got several things here. Let's do our lockdown segment. Our LennyLocksmith.com lockdown segment. We had a pick yesterday. And, bro, you got to love Vegas because those people are really good. Let's go over it in our LennyLocksmith.com lockdown segment.
Time to lock it down. The Lockdown is brought to you by LennyLocksmith.com. Services in South Florida from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, LennyLocksmith.com locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Here's the Big O to tell you what needs to be locked down.
Right. Big O is turning into a squirrel. Yes, we're squirreling around. At least we're not squirrely like Brian Flores. That's squirrely. That's for sure. So yesterday, there was a game played between two terrible teams, Dallas and the Giants. I will admit, I watched the first quarter, and then I just said, I can't do this anymore. I know I have money on it. I can't watch this. So I went to watch other things with the wife. Bounce around YouTube and all that kind of stuff. God, I can watch YouTube for hours. Just hours. I really love it. So yesterday, the game was between the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. And in that game, the Giants were favored by 1. The over and under was 39. Cowboys were minus 105 on the money line, and the Giants were minus 115. Giants, by the way, were one of 3 undefeated teams in the NFL, along with Miami and the Eagles. Well, the Dallas Cowboys ended up winning that game 23-16. First of all, handing the Giants their first of many losses because they're not that good. And so that knocks them from the ranks of the unbeaten. Not that I was worried about them, to be quite honest. So that leaves the Dolphins and the Eagles. Let me just talk about the important things. Dolphins, of course. Dolphins and Eagles is undefeated. Now to get to the frustrating part of it, I think it was like 3-3 or 6-6 or something. It was a low-scoring game, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I got a shot. And sure enough, they ended up producing enough points to make it 23-16. Now, if you do the math, 23 and plus 16 equals how much, ladies and gentlemen? 39 points. And we told you to go under 39. Well, guess what? We got to push. It's our third push during this streak. We're 10 above 500 at 38, 28, and now 3. It's our third push, man. These guys in Vegas are just amazing how they do it. All right. The Mets have won a ton. The Marlins are 8-19 in their last 27 games. Pablo Lopez is pitching better lately. He's 9-10 and a 3.88 ERA. Carlos Carrasco is 15-6 and a 3.79 ERA. And, the Mets overall have obviously done a crap ton of winning, and they're still winning a bunch of games. They have some games where, they don't really score a lot of runs, and it's a little frustrating. They might lose a couple because you're going to lose a couple. But most of the games that they win big, and they score a lot of runs. Well, the line is Mets minus 1.5 runs. The over and under is 7. Miami is plus 175 in the money line, and the Mets are minus 205 in the money line. I'm convinced the Mets are going to win in this game, but I'm not going to bet the money line because you got to lay 205 to win 100. But I am going to lay the 1.5 runs. I think the offense will do more than enough to light up Miami. They're on the road anyways. They're in New York, I believe. So I'm going to go Mets and Carrasco minus 1.5 runs for our A. Lenny Lockdown segment. By the way, if you get locked out of your home, your house, you make sure you reach out to the great people at alennylocksmith.com. Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, even Port St. Lucie, and Tampa, Orlando, and Phoenix. We have also branches there to take care of you in those cities too. So go to alennylocksmith.com. You need duplicates. You need new locks in your home. You need to reprogram those car keys. They do it all. alennylocksmith.com. Support the great people that support us. That is your lockdown segment.
The Lockdown is brought to you by alennylocksmith.com. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business. Car key replacements and programming. All model cars. 24-hour service. Call them anywhere in South Florida at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com where we lock it down.
All right. Listen, what's it called? Give me 2 minutes. We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll get ready for hour number 3 at 12:15. Joe Shad will be joining us with our Hijinks Sports Grill, Miami Dolphins, and NFL report.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Why is it that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys? Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmiths. In South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business. Car key replacements and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you all out there for taking care of us and supporting us as always. Appreciate you all out there. Let's see. Okay, what else do we have here? Tua gets C and the Dolphins get a C minus. That's terrible. You're just terrible. You're not a true Fin fan. Anthony Sanchez says, Big O, do you think Tua will play Thursday? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's a tough hombre, bro. He's going to play. There's no doubt in my mind that he will definitely play. What else do we have on the chat board? Joe Shad, Tua almost threw a pick. He gets an F from me. Yeah, I'm with you there. Bengals to wear white helmets Thursday night. Are they really? Did they announce that? Okay. Yeah. When is the USA soccer game? I you know what? I did not realize that they were playing today. Got to be honest. I did not know that they were playing today. I hope they're playing tonight. Because, that way I can, after I'm done at 8:00, because I've got to do the Florida State Gridiron roundtable tonight between 7 and 8. So we'll have some fun with that today on the program, and we'll talk to the guys. They just moved. I just retweeted it, by the way. They just moved the Gators game. Okay, not that you people care, or some of you out there that are Dolphins fans and Canes fans and all that good stuff. But they actually did just move the Gators game to Sunday, 2 p.m., I believe. Let me make sure. Due to the Hurricane Ian, our game versus Eastern Washington has been rescheduled for Sunday, October 2nd at noon. All tickets issued for Saturday will be honored on Sunday, which that is, I think, a very responsible thing on behalf of the team. Gus 1388 sent it to me. Bengals will wear all white uniforms Thursday night against the Dolphins. Well, there is a Bengal tiger that is white. So I can, like I had a problem with the Florida State stuff, but Florida State and their gold helmets and what is it? Burgundy, wine, crimson. What is it that you guys call that color? Come on, there's got to be a Seminole fan watching or somebody that knows, whatever. But your helmet's iconic. The Bengals are not. The Bengals are the Bengals. So if you got orange helmet with black stripes or a white helmet with black stripes, who really gives a crap? You know what I'm saying? The Bengals are like that tree that falls in the forest and nobody sees it. Did it really happen? That kind of stuff. Go Gators, says Frankie Fresco. USA plays at 2 p.m. Oh, okay. So I'll watch it while I'm talking with Doug, because we'll be doing the show today. After this show, we'll be filming. So thank you, Frankie. I appreciate you with the love on the super chat as always. Remember, you can also make a donation through Cash App and Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. If you want to make a donation through Cash App or Venmo. Always appreciate, and we will read your comments too, just like we do with the super chat if you have a comment. Sometimes you send a donation, you don't put a comment, but you can put a comment or a question or whatever it is, and we'll get to it. I feel that the Dolphins should have a Vice City uniform as their colors, as their color rush. I need the Dolphins to bring back their original logo. Add a modern twist to it if you want, but just eliminate this crap that you have now. And I don't want to see a black jersey. I don't want to see a red jersey. I don't want to see a green jersey. I don't want to see a Vice jersey. I don't want to see any of that. Keep the tradition. There's nothing wrong with the tradition. It is a beautiful tradition. Okay? The Packers don't need the change, bro. It's beautiful, green and yellow, and that boring-ass G looks fantastic. You don't need to change a damn thing. Sometimes it's just fine to be red and gold and with the SF and leave it alone. That blue helmet with the red stripe and the NY for the Giants, just fine, man. The Eagles have their wings. Leave it alone. We don't need to change it. Some things are just fine the way they are. They look great. Absolutely awesome. That's just me. No need to go with Vice and all that kind of stuff. You know, I know they're money grabs and all that. Look, this year the Heat are bringing back the original jerseys. And I happen to love those, man. The letters, the way the stitching with the skinnier line in between the two thicker lines. Just all of it. I love that jersey and that look. And I don't have a problem with some of the other stuff that they've done. But that's kind of their thing. With the Dolphins, I kind of like tradition. I really do. I don't like that whale. I hate that whale. Can't stand the logo that they have now. You know? Garnet and gold. Thank you, Drago. That's it. Garnet and gold. That's what FSU people call it. It's freaking iconic, bro. You don't need to ever change. Don't go getting a white helmet with the no. The gold helmet with the spear and the garnet stripe. It's beautiful, bro. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Okay? Just like my U. Leave it alone. That logo is perfect. I don't need you to change it. We're good. We're good. We'll stay like this. We'll keep the logo. I don't need you to get fancy with the U logo. It's the U. That's it. Simple. The original jerseys for the Heat look fantastic. They do. They're awesome. Big O, the orange uniforms look amazing. You have to admit it. The orange jersey, I do like it. Yeah. Yeah, I do like the orange jersey. I do. Like the aqua better. Okay. I will admit I like the aqua and the white better. But the orange jersey does look good. I'm not going to lie with that. But that's part of their original colors. Whereas FSU, you go white or the Bengals, you're not really white. But there are white Bengal tigers, so it kind of flies. You know what I'm saying? With the whole thing of the animal itself, but it's really not your colors. Just like FSU, the white helmet, that's not your colors, bro. It takes away from the look of that badass garnet and gold helmet with the little tomahawks when you've done good stuff or whatever it is. I forgot exactly. They give it to you for whatever accomplishments. I forgot what it is. I just think I love tradition. I love tradition. Big O, when do you start to worry about the running game? Need the running game for the playoffs. Jesus, why are you worried about anything? You're 3-0, dude. You want to worry about something? Just worry that Tua is healthy enough to play. Okay? That's about as far as I'm going to go. I'm the team. You're not going to fix everything in the man's first couple of months. Not the entire offense, not the entire defense, not everything. You're always going to have some issues anyway. Even when you're a Super Bowl team, you'll have something you may not be perfect in. But did you really expect for the running game to be dominant by now in its third week, now going into its fourth week? No. So I wouldn't worry about it. You run enough, you make some plays in the running game, and you got a hell of a offensive coordinator, and you got a fantastic quarterback that's got a good grasp of what he's doing right now. So enjoy it, my friend. Don't nitpick about those kind of things. Plus, don't worry about something that has not happened yet. So if you go this week and beat the Bengals and you only rush for, 80 yards or 120 or whatever, and you don't rush for a great clip, who cares? You won. You found a way to win. So that's what I would tell you. Don't worry about those kind of things right now. It's not worth it, man. Essential Moving Experts. Let's talk about Sean, man. I love talking about Sean and all the great people there at essentialmovingexperts.com. Moving was never so easy. And make sure you mention the Big O because you'll get $150 off. 844-368-5750. Save that number, 844-368-5750. And anywhere in the country, they will move you. All right, from one city to another, from one county to another, from one state to another, across the entire county, across the entire state, across the entire country, you name it. And they've got warehouse storage. So if you're in the process of moving and you need your goods to be stored for a couple days, a week or two, even up to 30 days, they will store it for you on the house. 844-368-5750, flat rates, no surprise charges, safe and efficient loading and unloading practices at all times, folks. So go to the website, make an appointment, go to Essential Moving Experts. Tell Sean Williams and the folks that Big O sent you. Sean will take care of you. Big Dolphins fan, as you can see, Dolphins colors. So call the great people at essentialmovingexperts.com. All right, let's send Joe Shad a message. I sent him an invite. Send him a message there, see if he's ready so we can get Joe Shad on and get rocking with him here on Le Programme. Did you guys see that the NFL is changing the Pro Bowl? Great move on the NFL's part. The Pro Bowl is garbage. I rarely ever watch that stinking garbage, to be quite honest. It's not worth it. That's all. It's a waste of time watching it. But now, not that I'm going to be watching a flag football game, but at least you're not putting people as, there's still going to be risk because you can even get injured in a flag football game, but it's not the same as a contact sport where there's some contact, at least in the Pro Bowl. So the Pro Bowl no longer will be a tackling game. The league is replacing the postseason All-Star Showcase with a week-long array of skills, competitions, and other events culminating in a flag football game for the AFC and NFC. The NFL is dubbing it the branded week, the Pro Bowl games. The first iteration is February 5th, 2023 in Las Vegas. Somebody might be there, I don't know. What do you think, Sean? Because if we go to the Super Bowl, right, that's the week after the Pro Bowl, right? So we're all right. We go to the Pro Bowl, then we drive right down to Arizona. We go to the Super Bowl, and then we come back to South Florida for the parade, right? So we're all right. I think we're good. We're good. We're good. So I think we'll do that this year on the show. We'll go down for the Pro Bowl, watch the Pro Bowl in Vegas, have some fun because it is Vegas. Then we'll drive down to Arizona, catch the Dolphins win the Super Bowl, not just participate. No, win the Super Bowl. And then we'll fly back to South Florida and we'll cover the parade and all the festivities at the stadium. I think that's a plan. And great idea by the NFL to change the Pro Bowl and make it kind of a skills and fun event. That's what it should be. Because the game itself has been a joke. So let's do the right thing. That's the right thing right there, ladies and gentlemen. And nothing better than going to the Pro Bowl, then the Super Bowl, and then the parade. I mean, come on. Let's talk to Joe Shad. He's probably ready to cover the Pro Bowl, the Super Bowl, and then the parade also. He's always into some kind of hijinks. And our Hijinks Sports Grill Miami Dolphins report.
Dolphins fans, it's time to talk to the man with incredibly high standards. It's not easy to score an A or grade 10 out of 10 with this guy. In fact, he isn't impressed with Joey Chestnut's dominance, Usain Bolt's speed, or even Van Ginkel's locks. Will the hijinks continue? Can the Miami Dolphins do the impossible by getting a passing grade with Joe Shad? It's time for the Hijinks Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Report. This report is brought to you by Hijinks Sports Grill in Boca at 133 Southeast Meisner Boulevard. Enjoy happy hour 4 to 7 p.m. Reserve a VIP table online and receive 1 free sparkling wine. Follow them on Instagram at Hijinks Sports Grill. Here's Miami Dolphins insider Joe Shad.
There he is. He's locked and loaded and ready to go. How you feeling, Joe?
What's up, Big O? Feeling well. Doing well.
Good. So what do you think about that plan? You cover the week in Vegas for the Pro Bowl, then you go down to Arizona, you cover the Dolphins winning the Super Bowl, and then you travel back to South Florida to cover the parade. Does that sound like a pretty cool 2 weeks?
Yeah, that would be an amazing story if the Miami Dolphins made it to the Super Bowl.
It would
Certainly
be.
the Vegas odds, I think, have gone from 40-1 to 16-1. And ESPN has the Miami Dolphins as the number 1 rated team in the entire NFL right now. So things have changed. A lot of things have changed.
When has that ever happened while you're on the beat?
Oh, ESPN? I don't think ever.
Right. I was telling Poupart this, and I don't think he's ready to admit this yet, but I would say you are in the middle of it. This is the best Dolphins team in the last 25 years, the most complete team they've ever had in the last 25 years. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I came back in 16, and obviously, this is a better team than the 2016 playoff team, which was the first Adam Gase year, the first year I returned. And I did cover the Dolphins back in that 02 to 04 range with, Ricky Williams, Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, Patrick Surtain, and Sam Madison. And so that group is probably similar in talent. They didn't have a Tyreek Hill, certainly, but a stronger running back in Ricky Williams.
That's my point. My point is this is the only Dolphins team in the last 25 years that can bail you out on defense and offense. In the last 25 years, the offense was never, ever going to bail you out. Ricky, Lamar Smith, and Jay Ajayi had their way, but they weren't playing with a quarterback that could actually also complement that running back. And so that offense was dependent on one thing, running, whereas this offense can do a little running, but the quarterback and the receivers are difference makers right now. And it's already been proven in the first 3 weeks. I haven't seen a Dolphin offense this balanced since maybe Marino and, maybe now
Lamar Smith. Who was Lamar Smith? Who did Lamar Smith play with? That was Fiedler.
That was Fiedler. Yeah. No, it's not. Fiedler's not Tua. It's not even close to Tua. So that, to me, that if you really look at it, this is the only Dolphins team in the last 25 years that either side of the ball can bail you out in a game, and it's already happened. Hell, in the Ravens game, the defense gave up so much, and then they got stops, and then they gave the ball back to the offense, and the offense went back and scored all those points. You have to go back to Marino to have a quarterback that can score those kind of points. So for me, I could argue that these guys may have come up with the most complete Dolphin team in the last 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, the plan has mostly worked. The plan was the only chance we have is to get a top 10 quarterback in the draft by tearing down the roster for 2019. And the plan was to stockpile draft picks. Now, many of them have worked out, Javon Holland and the like, and a few haven't. Certainly Noah Igbenogany, who had only 2 special team snaps on Sunday and has been surpassed by a Division II player from Africa.
Which was also found by the team also. So, I mean, if you're going to fail somewhere, you got to make up for it somewhere else. And I think I think we got to get past the Noah stuff already. Complaining about Noah no, but I'm just saying in general.
Point.
I know, but in general, we have to stop with the 2020 draft, bro. Because Robert Hunt, Raekwon Davis, Brandon Jones, and if Tua hits, it's a monster draft. So let's start. If Austin
Tua is the key to the whole thing. I mean,
obviously,
if he becomes a top 10 NFL quarterback, it's a good draft. If he,
I mean, right now he's only number 1 right now, but let's not worry about that at the moment. It's a little early.
There's a lot of different ways to grade a quarterback, but certainly if Tua finishes in the top 10 in wins, yards, completion percentage, yards per attempt, then we will all give him his due. Even
you,
Skip Bayless and Matt Hasselbeck and
those
Chris
people
Sims.
Bro, don't mention Skip Bayless. Those people are just
and
clowns.
Keyshawn Johnson.
Another clown. They just do shit for clickbait, bro. That's all it is. They don't really say what they believe, dude. They do shit just to get a rise out of people. That's all, bro.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting that there wasn't a lot of reaction to Skip Bayless saying that Tua's Dolphins are not a playoff team. It's tough. There's nothing worse than apathy. When you're dating someone and they stop being mad at you and they just don't care anymore. That's kind of where Skip Bayless is. People don't really care. People don't really care.
For him to just go after LeBron the way he has over the years, it just gets to a point where you're just stupid, dude. It
becomes a little bit of a caricature of oneself.
Yeah, and that's what he and Cal Turd and a couple of those people, that's all they do. And I get it. It's super successful, bro. I get it. I totally understand. They're making so much bank off of it. God bless them. But you are what you are now in my eyes. And so
I know we're going to talk. I know we're going to talk plenty about Tua. You always want to ask me, where do I think of Tua now? And am I ready to admit I'm wrong and all this stuff? But there's a lot of other interesting things about Thursday's game with the Bengals.
No, and by the way, we'll have plenty of time as the season goes on to prove you wrong over and over again. So I'm not really in a hurry on the Tua thing. So don't worry about that.
Just to be clear, hold on. I want to be clear. Which specific remark have I made on your show? Specific.
No, you've just.
Well, no, hold on. What's the specific remark that will be quote proven wrong? Which one? Which remark?
I don't know about proven wrong specific remark, but over the last year, you've kind of acted like he's not a franchise quarterback. And
certainly wait and see.
And I've stood strong from the get-go saying it's everything around him and not him. And that's exactly what has turned out. That you got the talent improved and you got coaching, and now, oh my God, he looks like Alabama Tua. Well, I wonder why. Because he's got confidence around him. That's why, Joe.
I get it. I'm just curious.
What it was all. And by the way, Joe, I want to see how people judge the great Justin Herbert now. Because now Justin Herbert lost his left tackle. Now he's got a bunch of injuries, although Keenan's going to come back. So we'll see, but he's 1-2. He had another interception this week and a fumble. Okay. And Tua played with fractured ribs and a fractured throwing finger and still was able to beat the Ravens coming off the bench. So I'm going to see if the same, you remember Michael Irving when he was what was it? What was the word I'm looking for? Where he was accused about something at the White House or whatever, the party house, the White House. And that he wasn't guilty of being with some whore and some cocaine or something. And he came back at the media and said, I want you to, You vilified me. I want you to use the same kind of energy to talk my innocence, that kind of stuff. I want to see how people treat Justin Herbert now. And I bet you as the year goes on and he struggles and makes a bunch of mistakes, they're going to say, oh, well, things around him aren't that good. And that's the understanding that Tua never had. And that's what pisses me off most about the entire Tua situation, that you were blaming him when it wasn't him. It's everything else around him, plus letting him get healthy too at the same time.
Well, I mean, this is his third year in the NFL, right? I mean, that hip injury was a long time ago.
Well, no, but that's part of the first and second. It's part of the first and second year,
all right,
Joe.
well, if the Dolphins, all right, you want to get into the hip injury. So if the Dolphins believed that the hip injury would significantly hinder Tua's performance in 2 full seasons, do you think they still would have taken him? No, of course not.
Well, dude, that was the idea. That's why they wanted to start a shitty quarterback for the rest of the year and kind of keep him on the side and just, not win games.
So you think the Dolphins planned to shelve Tua for his rookie season?
I think the front office was in on that. Yeah. Now that look, there was no tanking because Flores was not going to tank. He was trying to coach his ass off. That was obvious. But when you start to think about all the other things that have come to light, yeah, it looks like the front office was kind of setting the team up to, hey, man, this is a transition year. Let's just transition and let's just, get our draft picks and let's move on and let's build it, which, it's hard to complain with that one when you think of the big picture, because you won all those games and you really didn't win anything out of that. It didn't help you, except it put you in a much more difficult position, and you were lucky that Tua got injured so he could fall to you at number 5 overall. You know what I'm saying? So it was an odd situation, man.
If Tua hadn't been injured, it's possible that Joe Burrow might have still been the first pick.
I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question, because if Tua's not injured, the hype is even higher than ever. He goes through the roof. So, yeah, I get it. Winning the national championship puts you there, but they would have said Tua's a multi-year starter and Joe Burrow's a one-year wonder, and that scares people all the time. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. You could be right. You could be right.
I wanted to tell you that.
And the Bengals are the number 1 pick, so, there's a good chance, they might have gone on the Burrow side. You never know.
The Ohio thing, yeah. I wanted to tell you, a few hours ago, I spoke to Ryan Fitzpatrick, obviously the former Dolphins quarterback. He's going to be part of the Amazon Prime Video pregame show for Thursday night's game against the Bengals. And by the way, if you live in Palm Beach County, you're not going to get that simulcast on your local TV, so you need to use the Amazon Prime free trial subscription to watch that ball game. If any of our listeners
subscribe to Amazon, what is wrong with people out there? It's got programming. I've been an Amazon Prime holder for, I don't know, 15 plus years or something crazy. And I only got it for the free shipping because I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon and I save the money. Now you have music, you have movies, TV shows, they've got channels, they've got sports. I got to tell you, for the $130 you pay a year, it's a freaking steal. Amazon.
No, it is. Prime. It is. The Amazon Music is really good. I have a little device called the Mighty device. I don't know if you heard of it. You can listen to all your music on that device, even if you don't have your phone with you.
Right.
So listen. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, okay, he is a very candid guy, and so I asked him this morning, a couple hours ago, what do you see when you're looking at the Tua film? 3 games. What do you see? He said it's been good. He's impressed. He said the thing that has surprised him is the down the field balls. He said a lot of discussion has been about how he can't throw it far, but he's done it in some really big moments. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, complimentary of Tua Tagovailoa, talked a lot about how he thinks Mike McDaniel is a much better fit for Tua than Brian Flores was. Some really interesting stories.
You were just as guilty as Fitz there, because you were also questioning the deep ball stuff. And it's like, ladies and gentlemen, first he's got to get healthy from the first year. 2, you got to give him some time. And 3, you got to give him the weapons. And finally, he has the coaching, the play design, the weapons, the time, and he's always had the arm. And so whether it's right, see, this is the part that really pisses me off. If you say he doesn't have an arm, or Joe Fan, not Joe Shad, says he doesn't have an arm, I can live with that. But when a so-called ex-player or an executive,
his teammate. This is his teammate.
Yeah.
Listen, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That's the part. Those are the things that freak me out. Those are the things that freak me out. Like, dude, like, don't you follow the game? Did you watch him at Alabama? He can throw deep. It's just the situation he's in right now, and physically, there's, and he was only with him for that first year. He wasn't with him for the second year. So he was with him during the injured rehab year, where he wasn't even a year removed from the surgery. So to think that he's not going to, of course he's going to get better, but the core has to be healthy. And now the core is healthy. There has been zero patience and zero understanding of what Tua has physically.
Yeah, but that's not unique. That's not unique. That's not unique. Ryan talked about how we don't give quarterbacks a lot of time. And it's not just Tua. It's all quarterbacks. We make quick decisions.
Unless you're Ryan Tannehill.
Usually those decisions are right. Now, listen, I asked Ryan another question. I said, what would it take for Tua Tagovailoa to become routinely lumped in with dynamic AFC young quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Deshaun Watson?
Oh, God.
Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick pointed
Justin Herbert can't hold his jock. It's freaking hilarious.
Do you want to know what he said? I'm trying to tell you what he said. So
okay, no, but I just hate that you put Justin Herbert in the same sentence. A guy that's accomplished nothing.
So Ryan Fitzpatrick said consistency, which is a very easy, obvious answer. He said, look, we've seen him do it at the highest level. Now can he do it over and over and over again, especially with defensive coordinators trying to make the adjustments? But in addition to that, he said, look, this guy's obviously accurate. What do you think he said is the one thing that's really going to define whether or not Tua takes the next step as a professional NFL franchise quarterback? Not leadership.
Win.
No, that's too generic. A specific on-field strength or weakness.
Big moments, I would say.
Decision making.
Yeah, third and 22 and fourth and 7.
Decision making. Now, of course, Ryan made terrible decisions throughout his career.
Yes.
But so he knows what a bad decision looks like. But listen, he was also fun and exciting and interesting and had big moments. But Ryan said, can Tua process and make the decisions quick enough and be consistent enough with his decision making? Listen, this is a guy who was in the meeting room with Tua, who was on the practice field with Tua, who was on game day with Tua.
As a rookie.
You're right.
As a rookie,
you're right.
As a rookie in an environment with a coach that hated him.
Yeah, no, and Ryan talked a lot about that. Ryan said it was a difficult situation for Tua. He said it was a rocky situation for Tua that got even worse after he left. Ryan pretty much buried Flores, which surprised me because I thought they were cool. But the thing is, he's just being honest. Ryan can't help. He's like McDaniel. He can't help but be honest. These guys are similar in that they're very honest. They're straight shooters.
I have the same disease, same exact disease. Can't shut up. I'll tell you exactly what's on my mind. I have the same disease, same one. And by the way, did he notice what happened last year with Tua when he had 2 seconds to pass? I thought he made a shit ton of great decisions with all the limitations he had. And everybody knew he was still going to get it to Waddle and got it to Waddle. So to me, I just think they look at Tua, a lot of you, including you, look at Tua the wrong way. His first year, I thought he was phenomenal. He was great because what he was around and what he had to deal with, and then his injury coming back from it, fantastic. Last year, no offensive line, no running game, only one weapon account on everybody's injured. They don't want to even play Gesicki as much as they should, so which that doesn't help him either. and yet he still was the least sacked quarterback in the NFL with all that shit around him. Okay, to me, I think he's done a marvelous job with the garbage that's been around him, and now you actually give him competence, and oh my God, he's one of the top passers in the NFL. What a shocker! The guy that was able to keep his head above water, win more than Fitz did in a Dolphin uniform, win more for Brian Flores than any other quarterback, and yet now, with all the competence around him, he looks terrific. I just, to me, it's baffling the way he's been viewed. I got to tell you, it's baffling.
Well, as I mentioned previously, even Tua was not pleased with his performance in his first 2 years. So now he's performing much better, and so he can't just say, "Oh, well, you were unfair to him in the past," and that, well,
Tua's never going to tell you he's happy, bro, and
performing
he's
much
great, and
better.
he's not going to brag about himself. He's never going to be happy with himself. He's not. He's one of those kind of dudes, bro. He's not going to go out and brag about himself, or he's always going to he's always going to be humbled. You know, it's more our jobs to do it. All right, let's talk about something that I don't know if you realize this. The Dolphin defense. In the first half through 3 games, they've allowed 59 points. In the second half, they've allowed a total of 18 points. The second quarter has been a bugaboo. They have allowed 14, 21, and 7, 42 points in the second quarter. They allowed 17 in the first quarter. But in the second halves of all these games, in the third quarter, 3, 7, and 3, that's 13. In the fourth quarter, 0, 3, and 2. That's 5 points. The second half, this defense has put a chokehold on all 3 teams that they have faced. All right. And somehow or another, they got to figure out that second quarter, Joe, because wow, they have given up a chunk of points in that second quarter. But the second half, and the fact that they're allowing an average of 1.66 points per game in the fourth quarter is absolutely impressive. That second half, they have bent, but then they break their opponent. Okay, they are a bend and break defense.
That's the Patriots formula, yeah.
No, but they are a bend and not break, is the saying. No, they're a bend and break defense. They bend, and then they break their opponents in the second half. Very impressive if you look at the track record through 3 games.
Yeah, and you have to think that on Thursday night, and I got to run in 3-4 minutes here. You got to think that on Thursday night, the Dolphins are going to attack the hell out of Joe Burrow.
Hell yeah.
The weakness is the offensive line. The weakness is sacks, and so these guys are licking their chops. Hit
them, and hit them hard. And does Christian Wilkins get to him? That's the question. And let me tell you something. They're well on their way to having Andrew Luck Part 2. Okay? Well on their way. I mean, if you're going to draft a franchise quarterback, brother, protect his ass, man, please.
Yeah, and I thought they did make some investments on that offensive line, right?
Yeah, they did. They got 3 guys, dude, and it just has not worked out. I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't know what it is, but he's getting hit a ton and getting sacked a ton, and he also has the Tua disease. You know that, right? Have you noticed that? If you watch it, he hangs onto the ball too. He plays hero ball, which Tua stayed away from it now. But we saw that a couple weeks ago, and we're like, yo, dude, you got to let go of the play. You got to take the sack. And you've noticed now he's not doing that. He's just taking the sack or throwing it away or whatever. Joe has that too, which, that happens too. It's not a Tua thing. It's not a Burrow thing. Young quarterbacks sometimes have that tendency that they just want to try to make the play, and they hang on to the play a little too long. And Joe, he's doing that also. He's going to open it up for Miami to get to him because he will hang on a little bit more for those receivers to get open for him.
And you get the idea that Jamar Chase is going to want to show a national televised audience that the Dolphins made a mistake by trading down out of the position where they could have taken him. the Dolphins preferred Jalen Waddle. And so, Jalen back-to-back 100-yard games. Maybe this is a game where Tyreek Hill instead bounces back with more targets and catches. It's just so nice to have all these different weapons. And unfortunately, Mike Gesicki really not a part of this right now with just one catch last week.
Oh, but it was big, dude. It was big. That catch in the air 2 weeks ago. That was a thing of beauty when he got that touchdown.
I just think he's gonna. I just think that if they can get a second rounder for him at some point, they should probably do that.
I agree with you. I think it's Tanner Connor time coming. You saw how he caught a couple snaps this past week
on offense,
right?
Okay. Did he?
Yeah, I didn't. I think I saw him. Unless I must be crazy, I got to look at the snap, but I thought I saw him out there for a play or two. And so I just think that eventually, as the season goes on, we're going to see that speed out on the field. And have you talked to him?
No, I requested Tanner Connor during training camp, but he was injured and unavailable. So
I'm gonna send you. Well, it's on our Big O Show Cuts channel, the second channel we have. I did an interview with him last week, and you should check it out because he talks about his game, and it's like Kittle's. He's not built like Kittle, but he plays like Kittle. And so he's one of those guys that refuses to go down, and he'll take on contact and all that kind of stuff. So he has the mentality that Gesicki's not that dude,
They kept him on a roster for a reason. So we'll see how it plays out. It's an interesting
and we've already watched with Kohu and who's the other guy? When they keep somebody on, there's a reason why that they
need him.
They fall in love with him. Trill, whatever. Trill Williams hung on since last year. Something about it. When they like you, even if there's something happens with injuries or whatever, they'll stick by you and they'll hang on to you. So they must love something about Tanner Connor. All right, follow him on Twitter at Shad Joe. And of course, go to his favorite place to have some delicious wings at Hijinks Sports Grill in Boca. I suggest you follow them on Instagram because it's a beautiful follow, if you know what I'm saying. An absolutely beautiful follow. And tell them why it's a beautiful follow, Joe Shad.
You need to go Thursday night because I believe we got to look it up. They have they have a special theme at Hijinks Sports Bar and Grill in Boca Raton every Thursday night. And I think it might, I'm trying to remember what the theme is for this coming Thursday. It has something to do with football, I think. So anyway, look it up. Look them up on Instagram. And I'm hoping to be able to drive soon so I can get over there. I don't have any friends willing to take me over there. So I'm hoping I can, I'm going to have to drive myself.
And the beautiful ladies are there too, by the way. Okay, so former and current Dolphin cheerleaders work there at Hijinks Sports Grill. That's what I'm telling you. Go to the Instagram page, and the beauty is endless there. You're going to go, wow. That might be the sports bar with the best looking women I've ever seen.
And the thing is, the food is good too. The food and drinks are good. The wings are really good.
I got to go taste it. I got to go try it myself.
Pick me up and we'll go over there.
I will. Of course I will. I would not go to that place without picking you up. So yes, we will definitely do that. Appreciate you.
See you, buddy.
You got it. There you go. The great Joe Shad. The Hijinks are over.
This has been the Hijinks Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Report with Joe Shad. This report is brought to you by Hijinks Sports Grill in Boca at 133 Southeast Meisner Boulevard. Enjoy happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m. Reserve a VIP table online and receive one free sparkling wine. Follow them on Instagram at Hijinks Sports Grill.
All right. Gus 1388, who's a maniac on Twitter, just sent me something. There's a new Twitter handle that's out there, and let me show it to you all because this is kind of funny. Somebody created this new Twitter handle Remember, send in your fantasy questions to our Welt and Rayom text line at 855-912-1056. If you got fantasy football questions, why? Because Andy Behrens will join us at the top of the hour. So this is a new Twitter handle that's out there. It's called the Hard Rock Sun. 4.6 billion years old, single-handedly keeping humanity alive, menace to the Buffalo Bills. That's a good one. That's a good one right there. Hard Rock Sun. Gotta like that. Gotta like that. I like it. I like it a lot. That is fantastic. I am a Ghost fan. And Ghost is a rock band. Metal, melodic metal like. And their singer, he goes by Papa Emeritus number 4. And he went out and threw the first pitch at a White Sox game. This, I got to tell you, Sean, this is my favorite first pitch ever because nobody has ever done it in costume. That is awesome. That was fantastic. What I want to know is how many of those baseball players actually listen to Ghost. And I got a song from Ghost that everyone will love. Okay? Are you ready? Look up Ghost Dance Macabre. All right? That's what I want you to look up. Ghost Dance Macabre. And listen to it for a couple of minutes. Go through the chorus and all that, and trust me, it's a great song. It's kind of like Kiss's version of I Was Made for Loving You. Put it that way. Because I don't want you to, you hear Rats or any of the other songs from Ghost. You may not like it unless you like heavy metal and melodic metal and that kind of stuff. It's great. I mean, I love the music. But they came up with a song that's kind of very popish, and it's called Dance Macabre. And it should have been a worldwide hit, quite honestly. Really, it should have been a worldwide hit. It's that kind of song. It could be played on Y100 or Power 96, or it could be played on any station you want to play it on. Dance Macabre. Really good song. That's one that I would suggest. Dolphins, by the way, heading into Thursday. Armstead with the toe. Ethan Carter concussion. Xavier Howard growing in glute. Robert Hunt shin. Melvin Ingram veterans rest. Brandon Jones chest. Hunter Long ankle. Tua back and ankle. Waddle with a groin. Then limited in practice. Raekwon knee. Javon Holland neck. Kader Kohu ankle. Greg Little finger. And Zach Sealer hand. Holy shit. It's a long-ass list. I think most of them are going to play anyway. When it's all said and done, they're all tough some bitches. So I think they'll all end up playing. And I think Tua's going to play. I have very little doubt that Tua will miss this game on Thursday. But, that's just absolutely hilarious, man. That Hard Rock Sun. I loved it. It's fantastic. All right, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line, you can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Follow us there as always. Let me tell you a little bit about LinkedIn. And as a small business, I've gone through this myself. When you're trying to build a small business, it's not easy. You got to get the right employees and the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. Well, LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it nice and easy for you to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then you can add your job and the purple hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so the network can help you find the right people to hire. Now, they've got simple tools, which is awesome, like screening questions. They make it easy for you to focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. This is why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. And did you know that every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Big O. That's linkedin.com/Big O to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. The Triple S podcast. Thank you for the love in the super chat. The reason the Herb talk, if he struggles, won't be like the Tua talk when he struggles, because Herb has previous success to fall back on and records. Like what? I'm sorry. Well, what does he have, bro? He has a losing record. Are you being facetious? Are you being sarcastic? I'm trying to figure that out, Triple S. I appreciate the super chat, but you're being sarcastic, right? You're trying to be funny. Because he doesn't have anything to fall back on. He's got a losing record. He throws fourth quarter pick sixes like they're going out of style. That is my point with Justin Herbert. All he has is some stats. Okay. Oh, forget about Cobra Kai. Have you watched The Boys yet? No, I have not. You won't have the same response to The Boys, guaranteed. Have to start from season 1. I have not. And I got to say, I'm not impressed by Cobra Kai at all. Season 5, I don't even know if I'll finish it, to be quite honest. See You at the Smashing Pumpkins. New single is awesome. I love the Pumpkins. Just listens to Dance Macabre. Wow, can't believe I've never heard that song. Has major anthem vibes. Exactly. It's a great song. It's a great song. And it's unlike any of their music. All of Ghost music is hard, heavy metal, melodic metal, that kind of stuff. Great vocals, killer lyrics, all that kind of stuff. And then you listen to Dance Macabre, and it is completely different than what they normally make. You know, and it's cool because it's like, oh, okay, no, you think we're just no, we could do something that's a little bit more dance related, pop related, and they drop it, and it's a great song. Fantastic song. Big O, Adonis clocked yet again on Sunday, interception and a fumble. Could we please put this conversation to rest? He couldn't tie to his shoes. No, but you're looking at it like a real quarterback, you know. It is pronounced macabre with a short A. Okay. If you guys get a chance, check out Ghost and Mastodon Tour. Do yourselves a favor. Yeah, both are fantastic. Love Mastodon also. I became a Mastodon fan. Ghost is just they're one of the better young metal bands out there. Of the young metal bands that have come out in the last 10 to 15 years, Ghost is easily top 5. Easily top 5. It's not even close for me. Of the new metal bands, this is definitely one of my favorites. Big O, can you answer layman question? What's a layman? I don't know. What are we talking about here? Michael Lehman, have the 72 Dolphins ever had to pop champagne because the Dolphins were the last undefeated team to lose? Oh, wow. I don't know about that. And maybe they were doing that, I don't remember them doing it 25 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when they possibly could be running, a deep table of undefeated. I don't know if they've done that much in the last 20, 25 years. I don't remember a lot of those situations that they were like 7-0 and 8-0 and 10-0 and 12-0. So I would say no. I would say it hasn't happened. And I would say this. I bet you this over anything in the world. Larry Zonka and company will not crack a champagne bottle if the Dolphins are the last undefeated team. I bet you that. They have too much class. They're too aware. They would not ever do that to their team and their current team, hoping for them to lose. So I would say it would be the polar opposite. If anything, Larry Zonka, the only team he would love to see them break their record or tie it or whatever would be the Dolphins, because they're the old school type. Maybe more younger people might be a little bit more self-centered and selfish, but I think those guys would love to see the Dolphins continue the tradition by doing it again, and not only being the only one, but being the only two to do it, and do it twice, and do it in the older era and then the modern era. So my suggestion would be, sir, that they would do it, they would be classy about it. All right, get those fantasy questions ready. Andy Behrens is locked and loaded. Give us 2 minutes. Here we go with our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Sloman's, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
PPR, draft, keeper, dynasty. It's the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone with Yahoo Sports' Andy Behrens. Keep up with your fantasy football teams by visiting any of the 8 great Sports Grill locations. Sports Grill, good food, good drink, good friends. Here's Andy Behrens.
All righty. You ready? Line up those fantasy questions. Get them on the chat board right now. You can also send them in on Twitter. I'll check our Twitter feed at Big O Show. If you're watching on the Cuts channel, because we're live on 2 channels, you got questions, fantasy questions on the Cuts channel. For those of you watching, I will look also. I have that screen up, and I will look for fantasy questions there. All kinds of good stuff. So Thursday night, How has Tua progressed as a fantasy quarterback, Mr. Behrens?
First of all, I got to say that I came in on a discussion that I had not even considered and that I find fascinating. The reaction of the 72 Dolphins if the Dolphins remain the league's last undefeated team. That is awesome. That is an awesome thing to be talking about.
I think they would root for the guys. That's the only way that they would root for that record to be broken, because it'd be done in the modern era now instead of the.
I would actually love to see them tipping champagne. Like when the Jaguars beat the Eagles this weekend, I would love to see it. Right. That is absolutely great. I could totally picture it. That's fantastic. Yeah. I think we're seeing what Tua could have always been if he had the protection and he had the weapons, right? All kinds of credit to him, because he's obviously taken a lot of verbal abuse over the last couple of years, right? It hasn't always been perfect. It is a difficult learning curve in the NFL. Every great quarterback pretty much has struggled as a rookie, often as a second-year player.
I don't have to be his left tackle anymore, which is fun, bro. God, that was a heavy job on my ass trying to defend them for the last 2 years. Holy crap.
Tua's been fantastic, and he's looked, he's also looked like the sort of carefree quarterback that we were accustomed to seeing at Alabama too, right? Like when he came into the league, the reason that most of us were excited about him was because this guy would take some shots, and obviously that was not available to him last year. Didn't have time, and he didn't have the weapons to sort of maximize his willingness to do it. So this has all been great to see. This matchup is particularly fun because I feel like the Dolphins and Bengals can be going at each other for the next, 5 years, 10 years. Like that wouldn't be much of a surprise. I think the Bengals are built to last. Obviously, the offensive line has been a disappointment after they rebuilt it, but it's still coming together. They've got talent on it. This should be really fun. I mean, you can't come up with two teams that have, a better top two in the receiving core, right? Chase and Higgins versus Hill and Waddle. This is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. This is going to be a lot of fun. Plus, they're desperate because they can't fall to 1-3. So this is going to be one. And let me tell you, he's getting hit a lot. And one of the things that we kind of were a little critical of a couple of weeks ago was where he was trying to play hero ball and hanging on the ball and almost even fumbled a couple times that it could have been turnovers. And then now he's calmed that crap down. It's like, yo, the play's done. Take the sack or throw the damn ball away. Don't try. Burrow is holding on to the ball way too much. And he's taking extra hits. And I get it. He wants to make a play. He's a ballsy kid. I get all of that. But all I'm saying is, well, then have fun, kid, because the Dolphins are going to knock your ass around because they're going to attack you and they're going to hit you, whether it's Brandon Jones or Christian Wilkins or Jalen Phillips or Emmanuel Ogbah or whatever. But people are going to hit you if you want to hang on to the ball. And I don't know if you've noticed it, but that's some dangerous stuff he's playing with right now.
Yeah, Burrow's got a little bit more of that Big Ben thing in him, right? Where you just extend, try to make a play. They like to take deep shots. They have the receiving core for it, right? But it takes time, and the line hasn't given them any more time than they gave them last year. And I thought the Bengals were quietly one of those teams that really had an exceptional offseason because they had one glaring need on offense, and it was to rebuild the O-line. And I thought they did it, but he's still getting hit a ton. And it's not just affecting Burrow, right? Like Joe Mixon has been getting hit in the backfield a ton. This has been kind of the story of Joe Mixon's career, but he hasn't been able to overcome it to the same extent this year. So got to wonder that as a fantasy manager, you got to wonder if we're going to see a little bit more Samaje Perine. Not that Perine's great by any means, but he's at least like just a no frills north-south guy who isn't going to wait around to get hit multiple times in the backfield. Joe Mixon has that tendency to, he's been so elusive over the course of his career, and he's gotten away with it because he's been able to make the first guy miss a lot of the time. Perine doesn't mess around with it. He just gets himself to the line of scrimmage and he's charging downhill.
So who's the must start in that game on Thursday night? If fantasy players are watching, they've got players on those teams. Who are the players that are must starts for you this week?
Yeah, I don't think you can veer away from Joe Mixon just because volume is surely going to come his way. He maybe picked up a little bit of an ankle issue on Sunday, but sounds like he's going to be good to go. So I think you still lean on him. I'm I'm still playing Joe Burrow. I mean, you drafted him as an absolute starter, and again, he's tied to Jamar Chase and T Higgins. So I roll with those guys. I certainly roll with. I assume Jalen Waddle's going to be healthy for this thing. He's looked absolutely fantastic. If there was any uncertainty as to whether the Dolphins could support 2 star receivers, they are absolutely doing it. So Hill's an obvious start. Waddle's an obvious start. I think Tua can be started basically rest of season without having to think about it too much. That I would also say that Miami's defense is kind of a sneaky play here. They are widely available in Yahoo leagues. And one thing we can assume about Cincinnati is that they are going to be in a position where they have to drop back and pass 40 plus times. And sometimes when you're streaming defenses in fantasy, you're just trying to identify matchups where the opponent is going to have to attempt a lot of passes, right? Because the things that drive scoring in fantasy are defensive touchdowns and sacks and interceptions. And you don't get those when the opponent is passing the ball 20 times, right? So I expect Joe Burrow to drop back a lot and for the Dolphins defense to pile up some stats in this thing.
All right, let's go. Questions are already starting to fly in. A. Jones or Kareem Hunt or Ayuk or Sutton? 2 different questions.
Man, I really just want to filibuster about the Denver offense with the Sutton question. Like what a dog of a game that was. What an absolute dog of a game. I watch a lot of Iowa football on Saturdays, so I don't need to tune into NFL games to see an 11-10 piece of nonsense like that. That was terrible. Sutton is the one guy in that receiving core that I feel okay about. He's getting peppered with targets. He's hauling them in. I would probably lean Sutton over Brandon Ayuk right now. I think they're both real good. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is a big problem. I get Niners fans rallying to him, liking him. They've gone to a Super Bowl with him. I get it. That guy didn't throw more than 2 touchdown passes in any game last season. He missed maybe a dozen opportunities on.
You want to know what bothers me
Sunday
most
night.
about that guy? And
Yeah.
if I would, first of all, the story came out in the offseason when he signed his contract, like he disappeared for 2 months.
Yeah.
Like, that football's not important to him. And then recently he was just asked about, coming back, and he goes, well, I feel good. I feel like I can, after redoing my deal, I can feel like I can play loose and just let it all out. And I'm like, oh shit. What this guy is saying is, yeah, I'm just here to hang out and throw a couple passes. Whatever happens, happens. Because most quarterbacks have to take the responsibility and the weight of the world on them, even though we all know they can't really carry the world, but you got to kind of
listen, Lamar Jackson's not worried about not having his contract done, or if he's worried about it, it's certainly not affecting his play, right? I mean, the league is full of guys who are able to compartmentalize their contract situations for sure. So
to me, this is a guy that he has the talent, but I don't think football is important enough to him to be as great as you need to be at that position.
He's just missed a ton of throws in the biggest moments of his career. And whether that's a question of his own commitment to it or the difficulty of playing quarterback in the NFL. I mean, I've said it before, like you go back to that Super Bowl, I feel like Patrick Mahomes would have won that game with either team. You just put Mahomes on either team and that side wins, right? Garoppolo had opportunities and he missed them in that thing. I believe the other question here that I don't want to ignore was also Aaron Jones
and Hunt
versus Kareem Hunt. And I would definitely play Aaron Jones there. I mean, it's I get the argument for Kareem Hunt, and he certainly had opportunities to find the end zone last week before Nick Chubb did. But Chubb is such a problem there for Kareem Hunt. Chubb is so good. Would probably be my bet to lead the NFL in rushing. And Aaron Jones is just so versatile. Like even if the run's not in play, he's arguably their best receiver. So I'd go Aaron Jones rest of season.
All right, here we go. Thursday, I have Chase, Waddle, Boyd, Mostert, and Sanders as my kicker. I only plan on playing 2 of them. Which 2 is the question, and will Sanders be a factor?
Oh, listen, it's Waddle and Chase. This isn't particularly close. Like I know that Boyd scored last week, but it was a single long play, right? Like as long as Higgins and Chase are in the picture.
Waddle over Hill.
Was Hill an option?
Yeah. Well, oh no, it wasn't. That's right. It wasn't. He didn't mention it. That's right. That's right. I'm just
Yeah. I thought Waddle and
You're right.
I thought
It has to
Waddle
be
and
with-
Chase.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I
Right.
thought Waddle and Chase were the clear options. And in a single game situation, it's really hard to forecast kickers. You'd really rather just pick on the highest point total of the week. But this game is probably going to feature a bunch of points and yards. So I'm certainly not going to steer clear of kickers here.
Although, be careful. Be careful. Miami Dolphins in the 3 games have allowed 59 points in the first half, 18 points in the second half.
Yeah.
They have allowed 5 total points in the fourth quarter and 13 total points in the fourth quarter. 5 points. And in the third quarter, 13 points. So it's 42 in the second quarter. That's where you got to get your points against the Dolphins.
That's the sweet spot against the Dolphins.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is if the Bengals don't have a great first half, the second half is not going to bode well for them, considering what they've done in the first 3 games against the teams that they faced. And the Bills have a pretty damn good offense. You know what I'm saying? So
can I tell you one of my favorite bets? I'll tell you one of my favorite bets over the last 2 years. Bengals kicker Evan McPherson. That guy's hit multiple field goals in 11 straight games, and you can always find 1.5 as the number for his field goals. I mean, he's actually hit like 3 or more in I think 6 or 7 of those games. So like he clears that with ease usually every game.
Yeah. Well, when you got a high-powered offense, you're going to get a lot of opportunities. All right, let's blow through some of these. What would you do? Start Russell Wilson this week against the Raiders, or go with Trevor Lawrence? Tony Zagalis.
Lawrence obviously has the more difficult matchup here, right? It's the Eagles. The Eagles defense has been really frisky. That's all of a sudden that looks like one of the games of the year. I will say, however, in defense of Trevor Lawrence, like the Jags are a legit 2-1. They have a point differential on the season of plus 46. That's the second highest in the league. They've won back-to-back games by over 20 points. Like that's a good team. All it took was a little bit of adult coaching. And all of a sudden they've got, fantasy.
You gotta have your fingers in the right place to coach. It's just kind of the way it is.
It's very well said. Very well put. So Trevor Lawrence is also a guy who gets like the Jets and Texans in weeks 16 and 17. So like Trevor Lawrence should be rostered somewhere in your fantasy league because he has a real chance to make a ton of fantasy noise this season. I would give a slight lean to Russell Wilson here, but I'm also at the point where if Russell doesn't produce this week, because the Raiders have been a great matchup, right? Like Ryan Tannehill just put up 264 against him, a touchdown. The Raiders have given up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks this year. This has not been a good pass defense. And if Russell can't get it done here, I think you can kick him to the curb because he doesn't run anymore. He's averaging 7 rushing yards per game. That's it. That's like a Matthew Stafford sort of total. He's not running proactively, and he's only got 2 touchdown passes. This does not look like peak Russell Wilson at all. So if he doesn't get it done against the Raiders, I'm done with him.
All right. Need 2 in a PPR flex. Jeff Wilson Jr., Tony Pollard, J.K. Dobbins. I think he's not playing, actually. Antonio Gibson, G from Pennsylvania.
Oh, I'm so glad he had Gibson there at the end. It's not going to be Dobbins. I mean, Dobbins played last week, but he actually got out-snapped by Justice Hill. It's clear that they want to bring him back really slow. So,
oh no, it's not Dobbins. It's the Detroit kid, the one that's not playing this week, right? That's what.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift has a shoulder issue, not playing this week.
Yes.
Yeah, we think he's going to sit for 2 weeks. Jamal Williams would be a great play in his absence. But in this situation, I would start Antonio Gibson and I would start Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson was like the only good thing for the Niners last week.
Okay. Next question. Remember, 855-912-1056 on the Welt and Rayom text line. Flex, Devontae Smith, Edmonds, Ayuk, or Allen Robinson? What do you got?
I only get to play one, huh? I'm gonna go Devontae Smith here. Basically, since week 1, AJ Brown had the huge blow up game in week 1, and he was the only guy that Jalen Hurts could really complete a pass to. Devontae Smith has looked great, and he had just a superhero game in week 3. I probably have the highest degree of confidence in him. Also, I can't wait for this Jacksonville Philly game, which seems like a weird thing to say coming into the season, right? This like Doug Peterson Bowl. But this thing is going to be really fun. Those are two really good teams.
I'm with you there. All right, let's get through some of these here. Which would you choose, Chase Edmonds or Devin Singletary?
Based on usage last week, I think I'd probably have to lean. I mean, this seems weird to say because Edmonds just made it to the end zone twice, but I'd probably go Singletary. I don't have a good read on the Miami backfield, and maybe it just becomes a hot hand situation because we saw a couple weeks ago it looked like it was the Raheem Mostert show. Then it tilts back a little. All of a sudden, we're giving Chase Edmonds goal line carries, which has never been the thing that Chase Edmonds was known for. It is just much more difficult to predict. I do think the Cincinnati front is pretty good. So I would lean Singletary there. It's very close.
Should I trade Jonathan Taylor?
Well, I mean, the devil's in the details, right? Like there are trades I can imagine making for Jonathan Taylor. You're basically not going to get equivalent value unless you get like Cooper Kupp back. Really, really hard to do. So I don't think he's a must trade. I mean, I think Jonathan Taylor is about as good as it gets at running back. He is the centerpiece of the offense. He's one of the few running backs in the league who doesn't really have to compete with other people for touches. So no, I don't think he's somebody that you absolutely have to take to the trade market. But of course, if you have a glaring need somewhere else and you feel really good about your running backs, otherwise it's possible. I mean, he'll fetch a lot. I'll say that.
All right. Yo, do this. And by the way, if you got questions, send them in on the YouTube chat board. Send them in on the Welt and Rayom text line, 855-912-1056. And if you're on the Cuts channel watching us, you can also post it there. I will try to get to it there also. Let's see. Chase Edmonds.
Man, you got a lot of chat boards to read, man.
Yeah, yeah. Start Brady against KC or Tua? Wow. That is
that's a fun one.
That's actually a question. I would have never considered that a question, but now you have to consider it.
I mean, you can feel good to be a Dolphins fan if you're putting Tua into questions with Tom Brady, right?
Right. That's fun.
I almost hate to say this. I would lean Tom Brady here. It's hard to do. Like this is a fortunate situation that you're in. I think both of them. I've got both of them in my top 12 right now. I've got Brady just like a couple spots higher. He gets Mike Evans back. That's a big deal. You can certainly move the ball on Kansas City. That's not exactly some lockdown defense, nor is Cincinnati. But I just trust that team to keep the ball in the air, and I think we're going to see a huge total in that game as well. So I would lean Brady here.
Derek Carr or Matt Stafford?
Ooh, also a fun one, also pretty close, but I'm gonna go Matt Stafford here. I don't, that Raiders have been weird. Obviously, they desperately need a win. They're playing a pretty frisky Denver defense though, so I would not expect Derek Carr to put up a huge total in this thing. So process of elimination, I'm leaning Stafford.
All right, looks like somebody's out on the West Coast. Good morning, Big O. Running back Mixon or Herbert? Also, Derek Carr or Jimmy G?
Okay, we can
second one's really easy.
Jimmy G definitely not in the circle of trust for me right now. Coming off just an absolutely miserable game. I'm going to go Khalil Herbert for the first one, which may seem, I don't know. Does that seem weird? Maybe it's weird. No. It's kind of fun to do though. No David Montgomery this week. We think he suffered that pretty significant ankle injury last week. And sometimes a backup comes in and we say things like, oh, he can be 85%, 90% of David Montgomery. I think Khalil Herbert can be like 105% of David Montgomery. Okay. That guy's good. He put up a huge total against the Bucs run defense last year. He had a 4-game stretch where he was getting a featured workload, and he averaged 97 scrimmage yards per game last year. He's coming off 157 and 2 touchdowns. All the Bears want to do, regardless of game situation. Remember, they got down to Green Bay and they still ran the ball. They don't want Justin Fields to drop back more than 20 times a game. They're going to run the ball all day. And Khalil Herbert's really good, and it's the Giants. So the Giants are fine, but they're coming off a short week. They got gashed by both Zeke and Tony Pollard this week. So yeah, I think Khalil Herbert puts up a huge week. I think he's a top 5 running back.
All right. 6193 is asking, should I start Josh Allen or Joe Burrow?
I mean, you're going to start Josh Allen. Like you're going to start Josh Allen every week. It's a little weird that you've given yourself both Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. I might reach out to the person who had Dak Prescott on their roster and see if they're interested in trading for one of your quarterbacks.
Dak for sure will get injured again when he comes back. So
yes, right.
It's like telling me a Boza or Watt are injured. Really? No shit.
Yeah, exactly.
What a shocker.
Exactly. There's no way that all four of them have been healthy at the same time. Yeah, you're totally right. So you're just basically going to be burning Joe Burrow on your bench all year because Josh Allen in any matchup, he could do it with his legs, he could do it with his arm. He's got an incredible receiving core. You're just not going to sit him all year.
Yeah, and that's the reason the legs really ultimately make the difference. And that Sasquatch is just a pain in the ass to play, man. He is. Yeah. He's a monster, dude. All right, streaming defense, Pittsburgh or Miami, one wide, Michael Thomas, Olave, Christian Kirk, or Sutton?
Ooh, I'm going to go, even though he probably has to see plenty of Slay, I'm going to go Christian Kirk. They scheme him all sorts of great matchups. So I'm going to lean Christian Kirk there. And then I'm going to go with Miami for the reasons I mentioned earlier. I first of all,
get sacks. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a turnover. I just gave you their second half stats. So if they somehow show up with a strong first half, this could be a team that limits and frustrates the hell out of the Bengals this week, man.
All we ever really want is a pretty good defense that's facing a team that's likely to throw the ball like 40 times, right? And I think that's what we're getting in this matchup because we just want opportunities for interceptions and sacks, and they are definitely going to have it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's see what else. Anything on Miles Sanders or Clyde Edwards?
Oh, I would play Miles Sanders there. I think this is the Bucs run defense hasn't exactly been what it was last season, but it's still really tough. And Edwards-Helaire is splitting touches with McKinnon, with Pacheco. So he's got, not the cleanest path to touches. It's not like Miles Sanders doesn't have to share workload himself, but I'd lean that direction.
Yo Dudis says, who won this trade? Eckler, Allen Robinson, Kareem Hunt for J.K. Dobbins, Drake London, and Ramondre Stevenson.
Even though he hasn't exactly been a satisfying fantasy experience this year, I still think Austin Eckler is probably the best player in this deal. And that's the side that I'd lean to because you also got Hunt in there. I will say on the other side, I like Drake London. Like that's not a garbage pile on the other side. I think Drake London has been exceptional. Like I was a total target hog at USC, and that is perfectly translated to the NFL. Like targets are earned, and he's clearly earned them. Guy's 6'5". He's scored in back-to-back weeks. He's gonna, even though Marcus Mariota doesn't pass the ball a lot, Drake London is still gonna see, because he deserves it, 8 to 10 targets a week. Like this has been really fun, and he's translated very well. He was a guy who was dealing with a preseason injury too, and he shrugged that off, and he was great immediately.
Is Greg Dortch worth picking up?
I wouldn't put him I wouldn't use a top overall waiver claim on him, anything like that. I think for another week or two, he might be pretty useful. He's the slot guy in Arizona. Kyler Murray's dropping back, 50, 60 times a game. That's good. I don't know what his role will be when Rondale Moore is back. He probably sticks around, but we're not exactly talking about a really explosive playmaker here. And also, if Romeo Doubs is out there on my wire, if Isaiah McKenzie is out there on the wire, Michael Gallup, guys like that, I would prefer all those guys to Greg Dortch.
Okay, there you go. What are you working on over at Yahoo so folks can check you out, my friend?
We've got the Yahoo Fantasy Football Forecast. It's a pod that we release pretty much every day, so that's available to you wherever you find your podcasts. Also, check us out, please, on Fantasy Football Live an hour before kickoff on Sundays.
There you go. And follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens. Andy, as always, appreciate you. We'll catch up next week, my friend. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Big O. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you, sir. There you go. That is our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. Remember, during football season, college and NFL, they've got football specials going on. $1.50 Bud drafts and bottles, NCAA and NFL games going on. So on Thursday, you go to a sports grill near you. You could enjoy the Dolphins kicking the Bengals' ass and a nice cold Bud Light in your hand. They've got new cocktails, only $5 during the NCAA and NFL games. Cherry lemonade and tailgate tea. They've got $12 domestic pitchers. They've got the buttermilk chicken sandwich that they've added to the menu and the buffalo tater tots. And the Doral location is coming soon. They've got daily specials on Mondays, a $7 single smash burger. Today, Tuesdays, $2 tacos, chicken, beef, and fish. And Wednesdays, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult entree. Sports Grill, baby. You're going to love it. Check it out. Best place to go check out your football season. Little Sports Grill action there. 7 amazing locations. Sports Grill.
You've been listening to the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone with Yahoo Sports' Andy Behrens. Go to sportsgrill.com to find a great location near you. Fantasy football fans, subscribe to the Big O Radio Show on YouTube and all other platforms to catch up with all our fantasy football insight provided by Scott Pianowski and Andy Behrens.
All right. Appreciate all of you out there as always. Thank you. And again, please prepare for the storm, okay? Don't underestimate this thing. All right, we are pretty much done here. We will be back tomorrow morning, 8:45. Get you ready. We'll be back tonight. Tonight, we got 2 hours. Remember, we've got the State of Florida Gridiron, the Gridiron Roundtable. Manny Navarro will be joining us along with Ira Schofel, okay? And Ira does a great job of covering, the Florida State Seminoles. So make sure you tune in. Kevin Brockway covers the Gators for the Gainesville Sun. So you'll have your Gators, your Seminoles, and your Canes talk during that hour. I will host it. And then Mike McCoy comes your way at 8 o'clock with the Miami Hurricanes Watch. So a lot of you are going to be home here in the Florida area because of the storm. Well, tune in, man. Tune in, and please stay safe. Make sure you get all of your supplies. Very important. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Or we'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock right here on the platform. Be good out there.